As the great bard once said, all that glitters is not gold, and never judge a child soldier by their brainwashing nanomachines. Ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, this is Modern Escapism. Hello, my name is Oodles, and I'll be your host, and I'm actually a sweet guy. Don't judge me. Joining me today is the man that firmly wears his heart on his sleeve. It's Stig.
It's bleeding everywhere. Hello.
Who knows what's going on in that head of his? It's Gadget.
Hello.
And he's more than just a piece of fine sexual prime steak. It's Biggie.
Ooh, thank you.
Sizzle.
Before we start today's ceremonies, I want to let you all know that our Patreon is now live. Yay!
Woo!
And if you are a Patreon subscriber, there will be add-on content on this episode later on in the show. And let me remind you about the tiers we have by asking Gadget to remind you.
Nice.
Okay, so we have 3 tiers. At £5 a month, there is the Modern Escapee tier, which is Modern Escapism, where you get the slightly extended versions of the episodes. You also get a monthly bonus show, which is already there if you subscribe now. We did the bonus show. It is there. You can hear it.
Yes.
The next tier is £5 for the Scorched Sheep tier, which
Also us.
Same principle. If you just want to support our Dungeons and Dragons podcast, that is there. The actual first episode is there now.
Yes.
Before it launches on its normal feed. So if you subscribe to it now, you can hear it earlier. So yeah, and
exclusive preview, basically.
Yeah,
You can stop listening to this and listen to that. That's what you can do.
No.
But only as long as you come back and listen to this afterwards.
Yeah,
Of course.
It'll also be ad free because we're enabling ads on that one, and there's a few other kind of things to help me out as the DM releases that as bonuses that you can get if you want to, give Oodles a weapon that's possibly going to hurt him in some way, shape, or form and has a silly name. You can do that if you're a patron. And last up, there is the one which I hope you all go for because it's the Biggie bundle.
It's all of us and all of me.
Yes, it is. It's basically it's £7.50 a month, and it is those 2 tiers combined. You get everything involved with it at a discounted price.
Well, I'm not biased, and I think that's a fantastic bargain.
I do.
Oh, exactly. So, yeah. So check it out. It's patreon.com/Modern Escapism.
You're paying for my drinks.
Yeah, the more of you that sign up for it, the drunker Oodles gets. We get more Dragon Soup stories. He might lose his other Adidas Samba. You never know.
I bought some more, just to let you know.
So he'll lose one of them soon enough.
Yeah. I've still got an odd one, don't get me wrong.
As long as you lose the right side, like the right one.
Yeah. You
Match
don't
it
want
up
to keep losing the same one. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Excellent. Thank you very much for reminding the listeners and myself what we actually offer. I'm like one of those gentlemen that runs a bar, a landlord that doesn't even know anything about running a bar. So yeah, I'm just the host, guys. They pay me to be here. You know what I mean?
Well, who's paying you?
Them.
Them.
I'm freelance.
You know them.
And don't forget the £10 tier with no Oodles.
Yes, the secret tier that you have to type in the Konami code to get to unlock.
Deadbeatpunk signed up for it 6 times over already.
He's remortgaged his house for it. So, yeah, let's just crack on as we always do now that the bureaucratic stuff is out of the way. Biggie, what have you been up to on this fine, beautiful week?
Yeah, I've got a bit of a confession which will make some of you cringe and laugh.
Oh, no.
So, I am right on the cusp of finishing Final Fantasy VII.
You were last time.
I know, but
you're
I've
proper edging us at
decided...
this, man. We've been waiting for just let us finish.
Well, let me finish this because I'm so close. But I decided to go for the platinum.
Yeah, man.
And because I just thought I want to end this on a high. Just done, dusted. That game is done. So then I went back through the trophy
List.
Thank you. And some of them are hidden. And that was my little downfall, because then when I had a look to see what some of them were, and I realised where I've gone wrong. So I had to restart Final Fantasy VII purely for 2 trophies, because I went back and looked at my earliest save that I had, and one of the trophies is for Eris to get her 4 limit breaks.
Yeah,
Yeah, and where I saved it, I couldn't get that done. So I fucked up there. And I also had to do a romantic date with Barrett, which
it's
I
very
also
difficult to
couldn't do.
acquire that. You have to keep him next to you at all times and agree with him.
I did
Done
it,
it?
but by having to restart the game just to get to that point where I could do that.
Nice.
So I did get sidetracked, but I'm very close to doing it.
But you've got your separate save anyway, haven't you?
Yeah, so I've done that.
The ending is quite nice, to be fair. It's quite a satisfying ending, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm so close. I'm so close.
Imagine if he goes onto his PS5 tomorrow and like his daughter's been pressing buttons.
Oh my god!
Do you know what? I've already thought of that. I've uploaded it to the cloud. I've covered my bases. I've got it on my PS4, my PS5, and it's up in the cloud. So it's all good.
Wow.
The ones I did want to quickly talk about was I watched the Friends reunion.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Was it humble?
So yeah,
Was it humble? I bet it wasn't.
Do you know what? You've got to be a fan of the show if you even want to watch that. So if you're a fan of the show, it was perfectly pleasant. It was.
Is it just an episode?
It's literally just short of 2 hours, I think.
An episode.
Of the it's literally like they're reminiscing. They go back to the studio where they filmed it. The studio's completely
it's like a documentary type.
Yeah, it's done up like a set. So they're reminiscing. They're telling little stories. They watch a blooper reel. They have guests come in, telling them how much they love Friends and stuff like that. It's all very. If you like Friends, you'll fucking like that. If you don't like Friends, don't watch it. It's quite simple.
Cool.
So yeah, it's absolutely fine. It's quite interesting to watch it, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was hoping to watch it before today. Just didn't get time to do it this weekend, so we'll definitely get it watched.
Yeah, there's a couple of cringy moments, but yeah, I thought it was absolutely fine.
I mean, the fact that they've got James Corden interviewing them puts me out of it completely.
What's he doing there?
Yeah,
I don't know.
The Americans love him.
Reason. Yeah.
He keeps emailing us, just come on this
absolutely
show,
love him.
and we keep saying no.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when I saw the news saying, "Oh, there's going to be a Friends reunion," I thought, "Oh, okay, so what they'll do? Maybe like a feature-length episode or
That's what I
something. You'll
thought.
see what they've been up to like over the next 15 years or so." And I was just like, I probably would have watched that because I don't have any particularly fondness for Friends, but it would have been something interesting to watch because that was a thing that was on when I was a kid.
Yep.
But then when I saw it was just like, oh, they're going to the studio and oh, it's blooper reels and oh, they're going to like do a table read of a scene.
Yep.
I just thought, oh, don't leave this self-congratulatory drivel out of it. I don't want that.
I'll tell you what. Do you know what?
I would like a story.
It's actually not that bad. There's a few little.
They've got
cringy
James Corden
moments
involved.
in
It's the
it.
worst thing in the world.
Does he sing on it?
The problem is, if they did a script or a story, it would never live up to the hype.
Yes.
Oh no,
Yep.
I know that.
So-
I absolutely agree.
Did Friends end well?
Yeah, just about
enough,
the
yeah,
10th
yeah,
season was probably they're running out of jokes a little bit to that point.
Yeah,
I thought the last episode was good still.
yeah.
That's what I mean. That it concluded nicely, so you don't technically need it.
Yeah,
No, not at all.
the ending, everything apart from Joey's story was everything was kind of wrapped up with a neat little bow for most of them.
Yeah,
Well, that's when you got the spin-off of Joey, which everyone knows was a complete and utter trash fire.
Yep.
Tanked.
But the Botox was a bit scary, but that's a different story.
It's expected.
Yeah. But yeah, the main thing I very quickly wanted to talk about was I saw a documentary on Netflix which has just come out, which I knew nothing about. So I was really surprised when it appeared, and it's about the rapper Biggie, the notorious B.I.G.
Oh, he took your name, didn't he?
Yeah, so I let him have it. I thought he deserved it. But no, it's really weird because I actually had the nickname Big Man before he obviously came out as a rapper. So then I obviously like him as a rapper, and he is actually my favourite, so it is quite fortunate that we both have that nickname. But yeah, it's just a really nice documentary. Some of it is kind of stuff you already knew, but what was interesting was that what the guy says in the film is his best mate basically took a video camera with him, and pretty much filmed their life together once he hit big time as he was progressing through his music story. And yeah, it was really good. It was really interesting. There's some really nice behind the scenes stuff. His mum is interviewed a lot, and you get to hear a bit more about the Biggie that you may not have known. He's definitely got some history in Jamaica. They don't try and cloud over any of the drug dealing that he did. They're all very open about it. His mum was obviously very horrified to find out he did that. So it's all just stuff like that. It's just really nice, well put documentary with some behind the scenes footage.
They're doing some slick documentaries Netflix at the moment.
Yeah, and I really liked it. I just thought it was well presented. And yeah, you might not like it if you're not into hip hop. I just found it a really interesting story, and it certainly told me a few things I didn't know before.
Cool.
Oh yeah, I'll give you the title. The title of the documentary was Biggie, I've Got a Story to Tell.
Nice.
Which is taken from one of his.
I genuinely thought when I saw that in the Google document, it was like you had a story that you could quote about something that had happened. You wanted to tell us.
Oh, I wish I could spit bars like he did. There's always that Biggie Tupac thing, isn't there? But yeah, I'm a fan of. I like Tupac. He was great. Don't get me wrong.
You can like them both. It's not like the
You
thing. There used to be a bit of there was a war. You could only like one, but now you can
Well,
appreciate
it kind of doesn't really apply to us because we're in England.
Yeah. Which coast do you subscribe to?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Which is your favourite ME member? Let's put that out to vote.
No, I don't want to see that.
Could you imagine?
No, I don't.
I'd buy some brush and bots just to up my vote.
I know a link that I can send you for that.
Allegedly,
yeah. Right. Okay, we'll move on to Stig. Haven't you had a little visitor this weekend?
Oh yes. I was going to mention that.
Little.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had me and Gadget got to see each other in the flesh for the first time since we started doing this podcast.
It's really weird seeing you on a screen again.
Yeah. I can't reach out and touch you.
Did you just keep poking him, going? Doot, doot.
No, he was poking behind, going, "No, edit it this way."
Smashing your head into the keyboard.
Yeah, so I have decided to take on the editing for our Patreon specials just to help lighten the load for Gadget, so not everything is thrown at him. So he came down and
good, man.
Gave me a crash course in editing. So everything's set up. All I have to do is just drop the MP3s in there and get rid of all the unwanted stuff and crap, and that's it. So all the settings, don't touch any of that, and I'm good to go. So
that's all Gadget does. Then it's just push some buttons and that's it's done.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well,
it's also at a rate of knots.
I mean, he literally I was like, stop, delete this, move that, play again, and then I was watching him, and he was just like, he was just editing it as it was like playing. He was just going, do, ow, I have to stop that slightly just to move that back. Right, go. And I was like, okay, I need to get to that point.
It's experience like it. Everyone makes that joke when you get into like coding, like they do that whole thing from the Matrix. I don't see the code anymore. I just see this function, that function, whatever. Literally, when I'm editing you guys, I can see when it's playing. Like, oh, Oodles is coughing there. That's Biggie's chair moving and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's frightening. He
knows what to get
cutting out.
Like
he knows
Neo
what
at the end of the
cut before he
Matrix.
hears it.
No, it was a really lovely time. It was really lovely to meet Stig finally, and actually to have human contact. We've been stuck in the house, like it's been me and Pip just in the house together for the past 15 months. It's nice to leave the house, go see another adult.
A lovely house
home.
as well, by all accounts.
Yeah, absolutely lovely house. And his wife made cookies.
Oh,
Nice.
do you know what? I was literally waiting to jump in and say, please tell me you had some of those
She
cookies.
baked.
Oh, yes.
She did. She made some cookies for him. Yeah.
And Stig's wife, she fucking knows how to make cookies. They're good. Really fucking good.
So is Pip out now? Is that Pip gone now? Is it?
No.
Now the share, now the wife swap.
Yeah, we're going on Channel 4 with it next year. It's just going to be a lot of people shouting at each other.
I can just imagine it. I can imagine, like, do you know when they have them talking head moments in wife swap, like, and Gadget's now ripped up Stig's skirting board that it took him hours to do. I want a different skirting board, man. Just things like that.
Am I from Jamaica in your head?
I don't know where you're from. A weird man.
Yeah, so I'm
not even drunk. I'm sober.
Yeah, so outside of that, I finished off Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, man.
Like I said in Discord, I think it's a better game than the actual other Spider-Man, just purely because it feels more focused, it feels tighter. The added Venom punch and stuff, and the stealth just adds another dynamic to it and dimension. And yeah, the story just has more emotional impact. When you finish it, it's just like there's more emotion within Miles' story and with his friends and his family than there ever was with Peter's in that game. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to whatever they do next. I imagine that it's probably be
Ratchet and Clank.
No, a split. Like the next Spider-Man, I imagine it'll be like you'll split between the two.
Yeah.
What I would actually quite like is if they did it in a GTA 6 style. Where you can just kind of move, you can flip between.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
To flip between the different
They should
Spider-Man.
do that, but they should do
really
it Fantastic Four instead. Oh, we need a good Fantastic Four game.
No, we don't.
We do.
And it's weird because if you look at the history of Spider-Man, I'm really surprised when they went in the games. I've not played Miles Morales yet, so I don't know who's the main villain in that. But they seem to not be sort of moving away from the obvious
the Sinister Six
enemy. Yeah, it's really odd to me. I thought there were some great choices of villains, and then they went for in the first Spider-Man one.
I really liked that it was Mr. Negative in.
I did
in the first Spider-Man game.
Yeah, it was absolutely fine. I just thought it was weird that they didn't go for a well-known one.
I mean, there were still most at Sinister Six in that game.
Oh yeah,
they were.
Yeah, but I like that at the very least the initial push was with Mr. Negative, because that's a pack like you never really see him in the cartoons, and he's
very new
been in the films
in the grand scheme of things in the comic.
Yeah, and it's like it was a nice change of pace rather than your traditionals.
I agree.
I was expecting Kraven or Dr. Octopus as the main villain. Not he kind of was, but yeah.
Just give us Carnage, man.
Well, you get that in the film instead.
You sound so unexcited about that.
Could not give a shit.
Same.
I still end up watching it.
You don't want Tom Hardy's American accent, do you?
Sat in that lobster pool again, eating more lobsters.
Yeah,
it's fucking shite, that film.
Other than that, unfortunately, the other things I've done this week I haven't enjoyed. So yeah, one of those.
I don't
ones.
like it when you don't enjoy things.
No,
Nick.
one of those ones. I've been watching Trailer Park Boys, and I've been watching it chronologically. I got to the point where I was to watch the movie.
The movie isn't good.
Doesn't work. It doesn't tie in with the series. It's like its own thing. It's like they've just started again and they're introducing it to people who weren't watching the series, and it's just like this is pointless. Like it is literally a few episodes spread out across an hour and a half, and I was like, it was very poor. Like, just didn't work very well. But the main one that I want to have a little rant about is One Army of the Dead.
Finally, it's coming. Excellent. We needed this.
Now,
I'll strap in then.
I'm going. Right. Biggie, you going to watch this?
I will. It's in my list to watch, but I've heard so much about it. I'm going to find a time when I really want to go and watch a shit
I'll
movie.
avoid the spoiler bit then. I'll avoid the spoiler bit. But I just thought it was shit. Too long and just really boring. And it really winds me up. And I was like, oh yeah, like it's a Zack Snyder film. It's a popcorn film. What do you expect? Just have fun with it. There are plenty of good popcorn action films out there that are very enjoyable. But I just don't get why people. I mean, people can enjoy what the hell they want, right? But I just don't get where they're getting their enjoyment from this.
You need to rate it differently because it's free. I'm like, I fucking pay for Netflix. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's not good.
I don't use my mum's Netflix. I use
just because
my own.
something's free, you don't rate it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think I'm finally done with him. Like it's taken this long.
Say that with Justice League.
Yeah, but the reason I watched this one, right, is because I actually do like Dawn of the Dead.
I do. I love it.
And he's gone back to doing a zombie film, and I thought he's proven that he can do these zombie films, and I really like that one, to be fair to him.
Yeah, it was fun.
But it's everything, all the techniques and things he's picked up since that film, he's added into this film, and it's made for a worse experience. The gore is brilliant. The special effects in the gore are brilliant. There's some really good action. There's a few crappy bits of action, but you get that with these kind of films. I thought the characters were paper thin. I really, again, I just don't get it doesn't matter about the characters. Of course it does. Like it's a zombie film. Am I not meant to root for these characters?
It's like trailer does character based.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's like, what's the point in saying like, oh, it doesn't matter?
They're all over the top.
The characters loads of characters are gonna die. It's like, I know that, but give me some to care about. So if they do die, I'm like, fuck. like, good. But I just, I really like Dave Bautista, but even his character, I was just like, I just couldn't care.
He's the best thing in it. He's the best thing in it, but it's not that good.
Yeah, and like the whole, I did not like the zombie, the self-aware zombie, the super zombie. It's really weird. It's in the trailer and everything, but the zombie, he's got a helmet, he's got a cape, he rides around on a zombie horse.
So can you remember the sorry to butt in? Can you remember the Land of the Dead? They did that where one of the zombies was kind of self-aware.
They had him chained up and they were trying to like teach him.
Yeah. It's not like that. It's like these are a new species of humanoids.
It feels more like I Am Legend style. Like with zombies.
Yes, it does.
But like,
and that wasn't good.
Day of the Dead showed you years ago how you deal with that angle.
Where they're just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, whereas Land of the Dead, they tried to then with Romero's Land of the Dead, they tried to expand on that, zombies becoming self-aware again, and it was terrible. All I remember was like the guy, he was like dressed in a janitor suit, and he was just like wandering around,
walk underwater, didn't he?
Yeah, he was like, oh, and he picked up a gun, and he'd be like, and he'd shoot the gun, and he'd be like, oh. And then he'd like realize, I can do something with this gun, and all of a sudden the zombies started to use guns.
And they made fireworks, so they were distracted, but he started ignoring the fireworks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he realized. But like for Romero, he did that so well in Day of the Dead.
Yeah, he did.
And then he just it was shit in Land of the Dead. But this just takes it to another level. Like where he's like,
it's off-putting. I think
he's got a queen. He's got like kind of like his underlings.
I don't
like
he knows how they act.
He knows what's going on. Like it just feels too. Yeah, it doesn't feel like the undead.
Yeah,
at all.
Exactly.
And that's kind of, I didn't like that. The whole thing is sorry.
I was gonna say I watched the pitch meetings video on it. Which summed it up quite nicely in about 7 minutes, and I'm glad I didn't spend the 2.5 hours watching it. Because even though obviously pitch meetings is taking the piss out of it, and it's like going through enough of the major plot points and major features of the film to go, no, that's a lot of very stupid shit.
Yeah,
I don't want that stupid shit in my zombie film.
It's not clever. That's the thing. It's just not clever at all. It's off-putting. There's some horrible scenes that are...
I bet it thinks it's clever.
It does think that's the problem. It thinks it's clever, and it's just not.
It just definitely goes like, do you know what'd be cool? Do you know what'd be cool? Do you know what'd be cool?
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, like the whole thing is a video game. That's how it's like there's stealth sections, there's QT sections, there's timing sections, there's side missions, there's a boss fight. Like the whole thing is pretty much done like a video game. And there's even a joke in there that like kind of suggests that something might be going on like that. And
is there any parkour in it? Because I'm thinking, is this like some really convoluted way of marketing?
There's no parkour in it, but there's like breakdancing zombies.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm watching it.
What?
It's not good.
Well, they don't breakdance. They just kind of like do break. They look like Eddie Gordo, like doing flips during fights.
I'm seriously
during fight scenes.
It's not good though. That's the thing.
No, I don't care. Just for that alone.
But for me, I've got past the point. I mean, I know people can say, "Well, you like the Marvel films, and they're exactly the same." But it's like, yeah, maybe, but at least they try to. Like, this is just
the Marvel films are character based, and they fully acknowledge that.
Yeah, at least you've got characters to root for or root against. Like, even if you know, even if you kind of know where it's going. Like,
even Thor,
even if they are cookie cooker, like
cookie cooker,
like kind of films.
Yeah, even Thor 2's got that character that you still know that it can ground it in that little universe, can't it? Even though it's shit, it can still. Yeah, it's this has got nothing going for it at all.
And no, not for me anyway. And finally, I'll move on. Someone really should have explained what the Cranberries song Zombies was about before Zack Snyder put it into his zombie film. Really should have. Because just because it says zombies doesn't mean that's what it's about.
Seriously. To be honest, it's a bit narrow-minded.
Ever the king of subtlety, that one, isn't he?
That's like that Alan Partridge sketch when he talks about talking to the Irish and he goes, the U2 song Bloody Sunday. He goes, I hate Bloody Sundays as well.
Yeah. It's basically to that level. It's to that level, honestly. It's just it's narrow-mindedness. I think I was reading the thing about Army of the Dead where some of his crew don't edit him well enough because sometimes his wife helps him and that, doesn't she?
No one does.
No one
does.
No one seems to be saying, "Look, Zach, just simmer down. I know you're excited." You know what I mean? I know you're excited, but just subtle.
Yeah, like I get he's a passionate filmmaker, and everyone who says he's worked with is that, and you can see that when he talks about his films. But someone just needs to edit him.
He's a bit of a man-child, isn't he?
Yeah.
What's he doing next?
Probably the Sucker Punch cut, isn't he?
There is. Actually, I think he said he had an idea for Star Wars, but obviously it'll be not. It won't be a Star Wars. It'll be a Zack Snyder style Star Wars. So
the Wookiees become self-aware.
And I say I'm done with him. You know, I'll probably
watch it.
It's car crash.
Weird relationship with him. Yeah.
It's like anytime Oodles says, "I'm not going to buy that game that comes out on Friday," and 1 minute past 10 on a Friday morning, lads, I've bought it.
Yeah, the thing is,
he's ready to talk about it on Sunday.
I get caught on Discord. It shows what I'm playing.
It.
It shows what I'm playing, and I'm like, "Oh fuck, they've caught me again." I've been captured. So, Gadget, apart from caressing Stig, what have you been up to this week?
So a couple of things. So from one kind of bad popcorn film to one good popcorn film. Last night, Pip and I watched Ant-Man because she's never seen it.
I love Ant-Man.
I love Ant-Man.
I really like it, and it's
don't spoil it though.
No, I won't spoil it. But it is one of my favorite Marvel films for the simple fact is it doesn't really connect that much to like the main plot running through the entire Infinity Saga. It's fairly light-hearted, a little bit of drama in it, but I really like all the characters. I think Paul Rudd as Scott is brilliant. I like...
he's good in everything, isn't he?
Yeah, and also he doesn't age, and he's really wholesome. I don't know what's wrong with it.
Him and Keanu Reeves are vampires.
Maybe a vampire, maybe a god, I don't know. But either way, Paul Rudd's really fantastic in it. He is. I like Michael Douglas as Hank Pym.
Same.
I like Evangeline Lilly as Hope. I like everybody in it. It gets a bit silly near the end, but it's a film about a man that shrinks down to the size of an ant.
Yep.
How grounded in reality can it be?
Yeah.
But it's definitely as well because it started life being like Edgar Wright wrote it. Didn't get to direct it because he had kind of conflict of interest with conflict of scope, I would say, with Disney and Marvel.
Yeah.
But he wrote it, and it definitely feels like a Edgar Wright film. And I think that's its benefit.
His final vision for that, it would have been interesting.
To be fair, I think there's a lot of his final vision.
I think so.
Release the Edgar Wright cut.
He left during production, not during.
I know. You can tell the dialogue's all him. It's all him.
Oh yeah.
There are sections. There are definitely bits and jokes that left in there.
The three sections of exposition with Louise.
Oh god,
that is all
genius.
Edgar Wright. Yeah,
yep.
It's so well done.
Yeah, it's just like Scott Pilgrim. Those little bits, aren't there?
Yeah, super fun.
And there's stuff like when like the getting set up for stuff. There's that Edgar Wright kind of that slamming from thing to thing to thing to thing.
Sharp cuts, isn't there?
Yeah.
So
really enjoyed that. I've obviously seen it before, but we're going to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp soon as well because, like I say, Pip's never seen them, and she's seen all the Marvel films apart from the Ant-Man films for some reason. So, and I like both of them. I think they're really good films. I also do really love the one bit that connects it to the main kind of Avengers plot line. I'm not going to spoil what it is because I know Kurt's going to be listening. It's about 2 minutes in the middle. It's a really fun little fight scene. I think it's really good.
Oh yeah! I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the other thing.
I did.
No, not the other thing. The other thing's a bit tenuous. But no, the bit in the middle of the film.
Yeah, it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. So watch Ant-Man. If you haven't, even if you've seen it, just fucking watch it. It's a great film.
It's a lovely film.
But the main thing I want to talk about, I started playing today, Knockout City.
I've heard a lot about this.
Yeah.
Knockout City is a game released by EA. It is so get your garlic out, just hold it up to the vampires. It's fine. Get your crosses. But either way, it's not the most EA game I've ever played. It's definitely not Dead Space 3.
Oh.
It's not broken for a start. It actually works. It's a multiplayer dodgeball game, and it's got a very Fortnite style art direction, like very kind of chunky, cartoony art style. It's really fun. Mechanically, it's brilliant. You're just running around these maps. It's 3-on-3. You pick up dodgeballs that you find in the map. hurl them at each other. You can take 2 hits, and then you're out, and then you get a point.
Is that it? I thought it was a proper dodgeball game, as in you're on a court.
No. It's like inner city maps and
Oh, right.
Like,
So
it's
Splatoon-like.
Sort of, yeah. Like the level design is somewhere between Splatoon and Overwatch.
Okay,
so it's
I
that
can dig
kind
that.
of slightly sci-fi Overwatch thing with the chunky cartoon style of Splatoon.
But I've heard it's got the fun factor of like Rocket League. Like
No
could be-
way.
It could be something like that.
Yeah, it's got like the really short rounds, like in Rocket League. It's got that kind of drop in really quickly thing that Fortnite has. It is a lot of fun. Mechanically, it's really sound. I'm a bit slow on some of the controls. I'm still getting used to it. Because it's got crossplay as well, I'm very aware that I'm playing again. Because I'm playing it on the Xbox, I'm very aware I'm playing against some PC players.
Yeah, I bet.
Just because I can't seem to turn my camera on.
But you will win when you play against the Switch players.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
If it's crossplay, then we can do that as a group stream.
Well, I'm playing it on Game Pass anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It's on PC Game Pass.
Oh shit! Let me write that down.
Yeah. So, but it is really, really good. I really enjoy it.
We need it. We need a game, guys. We need a game like that.
Yeah, and like I say, graphically it's beautiful. The rounds are really short, so you get like a timer of 5 minutes for each round, but it's basically first to 10 wins. So it's usually really quick to get to 10. A few situations where you kind of run into areas and you get the entire enemy team and you get absolutely destroyed. And it's just got some really fun things like so in each round you get like there is like a special dodgeball. So one of them is like the sniper ball where you like kind of hold it over your shoulder like an American football and it gets a laser sight and like tracks whoever you're aiming at. But my favorite one is the cage. I think it's called the cage ball. I'm not really sure what it's called. But it basically looks like a spherical cage. When you throw it at someone, it traps them in it and they become the ball.
Like a Pokeball.
Yeah. So they've got like 10 seconds to try and get out of it.
Nice.
But if you pick them up in their ball form, you can knock out their entire team with them and then hurl them off the map.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
It's like the ultimate sporting disrespect.
Nice.
But it's really, really fun. I really like it. And like, if you got Game Pass, it's absolutely. I wouldn't buy this game, but if you want to buy it, it's like 20 quid. It's like not even a full price.
They're usually not massive gigabytes either. Them type of games.
It's about 4 gig, I think, or something like that. It's tiny. But yeah, it's like it's on. If you've got an Xbox or PC and you've got Game Pass, you might as well because it's there. It's really good. I really enjoy it.
That's the thing, though. If it does become really big, like really popular, this will be another game where it gets released on Game Pass, and PlayStation owners would have to buy that.
Yeah,
and I think it's something that Xbox have really thought about, where it's coming to the Game Pass about getting these really good, fun multiplayer stuff on there. Even Outriders has been sort of slammed here or there, but at the end of the day, as a co-op game, my friends that have played it have enjoyed it. Playing it as co-op, you know, the story's all bull, but the actual game itself is fun to play. And I think Sony have really, funny enough, dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And with I think Sony haven't allowed crossplay either. I think that they wanted too much money from EA to enable crossplay. Yeah. I'm sure I read something.
Grow up, Sony.
But yeah, play Knockout City. It's really, really fucking good, and it's just nice to have a game that I just downloaded one afternoon because I was bored, and I put it on, and I lost about 4 hours to it.
Oh,
it's just an absolute blast.
Yes, mate.
Really super simple game to get your head around, and you'll get absolutely destroyed by 12-year-olds on it pretty consistently. But every time you have a good round, you get a good few kills on it, and it's just like, oh yeah,
that's how Rocket League gets you as well, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Rocket League's the same. You get smashed inside out for about 2 hours, then you get one good game.
It's usually when we stop talking, isn't it, and actually communicate.
Actually play. Yeah. Yeah. But that'll probably make it to be a stream game for us at some point.
Fantastic.
It is really a lot of fun.
Cool. Thank you very much. I have also been playing computer games. I've been playing Demon X Machina on the Switch. Now,
God, you actually bought a physical game.
Yeah, I know. Look, you can't see this on the podcast, but I am holding a box.
All the listeners are looking around.
That's not from Argentina, that box. That's from Europe. Basically, I saw a deal for Amazon Germany to get Demon X Machina for, get ready, £7.
Nice.
So I had to wait, obviously, a week, but it turned up. I had to turn it into English, and boom. It's an incredible, I like big robots. It's basically Big Robots Monster Hunter. It's the best way I could possibly describe it. It's Nintendo as fuck. I know Nintendo don't technically make it. I think they just published it. And it's just... I'm just really enjoying... Do you know when you... Sometimes, like, the best thing about Nintendo Switch is you can be anywhere, can't you, and play it? And this...
Yeah, that's the selling points of it.
This game has 5-minute maps. So...
All right.
You just... It's got a story. I'm skipping the dialogue. It's boring.
So it's even more convenient than Monster Hunter Rise, because Monster Hunter Rise is great on the Switch, but like some of the fights will take you 40 minutes.
Yeah, like I killed a boss on it. I'm about 25% through it. The story anyway. I killed a boss, and this is the big one. It's going to take a while. It took 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? He did, but that's not the main thing I want to talk about. I've also been playing Dragon Quest 11, but I'm definitely not going to talk about that.
You can't possibly talk about that.
no, I'm back on that. Do you know the weird thing is I'm playing 2 separate versions of it at the same time? Oh, God.
Even I haven't done that.
What? You're playing it twice?
Yeah, I'm playing my Switch version and one on my Xbox. Just 2 different builds. I'm playing the 2D version on Switch and the 3D version on the Xbox. It's the same game.
That's fucking madness.
Are you like getting through one town on one console and flipping over to the other?
That's basically. I'm just checking the differences, and there are slight differences. Yeah, there's story differences. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that you can't do on the 2D version, especially in the battles and stuff. But yeah, still best game ever. But the main thing I want to talk about is a film I watched. I think it was on Wednesday, as of recording. It's called Brightburn. It's on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, I just added this to my list.
I don't recommend this film. Basically, it's one of those films that you read the blurb and you think, fuck, this premise has got me. That is a premise. Without spoiling too much of the film, it's imagine if Superman, literal Superman, when he crashed on the Kent farm, imagine him being a little bastard.
Imagine if he was bad, naturally bad.
He was a baddie. Not the Red Sun. Imagine if he landed in Russia. Imagine if he landed where he landed, but he was a twat. And that's the film. It starts off, it's very interesting. There's lots of parallels with like real Earth creatures. There's a big parallel between bumblebees and wasps, and how bumblebees are the gatherers and wasps are the predators. He's likening himself to a wasp. And then he just turns into a horror film, like a proper slasher horror film, out of nowhere. This kid called, I think it's Brandon, something like that. They're in a town called Brightburn, that's where it comes from. He just starts murdering. Just a little 10-year-old starts murdering, because he's basically got all the powers that Superman's got. And it absolutely dropped the ball. Like, literally, at the exact halfway point of the film, he just went. I just went, "Oh no, it's not doing this."
Same, exactly the same.
I was good. I was like, "Oh, this is." It starts off so fucking. It's got Pam's ex-boyfriend from the American Office in it. It's got Miri from Zack and Miri Make a Porno. It's got her in it. I don't know the names.
So it's Elizabeth Banks is the lead actress.
Yeah.
And then David Denman, whose biggest claim to fame is playing Pam's
ex-boyfriend.
From The Office. I looked up the Wikipedia on this one because it's one of those films that I remember seeing advertised. I think I know nothing about this. Like it's such a. I mean, it's a very low budget film. Its budget was under $12 million.
Yeah.
The
director doesn't even have his own Wikipedia page.
It's a James Gunn. It's a James Gunn film, but it's
no, it's not. No, it's not.
James Gunn produced the film.
Produced it, yeah.
James Gunn produced it because his 2 brothers wrote it.
Right.
It's nepotism in film.
Yeah,
form,
that makes sense.
But it's directed by David Yarovsky.
Okay.
Yarovesky.
Yeah.
I thought that was more of a pseudonym for James Gunn.
I was just going to say, yeah, maybe it's just one of those.
That's what I thought it was.
I found out today that it was.
David Yarovesky, I've just Googled him. He's the Wish.com version of James Gunn when you look at his picture.
Who is it?
Oodles, did you see the post-credits?
Yes, I did, yeah.
I didn't see that because I just turned the film off and it ended.
The post-credits makes it even more of a James Gunn film. But yeah, Brightburn isn't a good film, and it's one of those where if it was a I don't know, like a Black Mirror episode. The first half would be perfect, but I always say if it's a Black Mirror episode because that's the standard for me. Even though not all of them are good, but yeah, it's one of those cases where you just think, oh, do you know when you don't physically shout at the telly, but your brain's like, fuck's sake,
yeah,
you've done this. Do you know how like Quentin Tarantino films make you go, fuck's sake, you've done this? It's the opposite.
Right.
It's the opposite. It's like, but yeah, it's such a strong premise, and I hope the premise is not dropped because they did it with that Chronicle as well, and that wasn't good either. Where superheroes become bad type thing.
No, I liked that actually.
I didn't.
I enjoyed that.
I thought it was shit. But this, it's on Netflix.
I'm not going to fight you over it, but I did like it.
It's on Netflix, so as some people say, it's free. So if you want to, it's not overly long. It's only about an hour and a half. But yeah, it's strong first, like 45 minutes, and then it's just shit. It literally just turns into a slasher with Superman. Well, Superboy. Yes, absolute 2 out of 5. You know what I mean?
Lots of recommendations from us this week.
Play Dragon Quest XI on any platform you want. That's my recommendation.
Knockout City and watch Ant-Man.
Yes, we've got plenty.
Play Final Fantasy VII.
On everything. Right then, Biggie. What are we talking about this week?
Thanks for getting my name right. So it's all about judging a book this week by its cover. So what films, book, music, games did any of us write off before trying and finding that we actually enjoyed them? Alternatively, was there ever a time when we thought that a game that was going to be shit turned out it wasn't?
It's a good one, this. So in typical Modern Escapism style, we're going to do a little bit of a round table. Even though we've never sat at a table and recorded together. We're going to start with you, Stig, because I'm sure you've judged many a book by its cover.
I have. I'm going to go in quite deep.
I like it
deep end with this one. It's.
Didn't mean it like that.
I'm going to talk about Amy Winehouse.
Okay.
Amy Winehouse is someone I grew up not particularly caring for. Didn't think her music was any good. I didn't think she was as a person was any good. And I saw her very much like the press presented her.
Yeah.
And I then watched the documentary Amy, and it completely and utterly changed my perception of her.
Such a good documentary.
It's a fascinating insight into basically what is a troubled life of a woman who struggled with fame and surrounded herself by the wrong people, and it completely turned me around on how talented and how good her music actually was, and how like I said, how talented she was, and this documentary is just enthralling and tragic and depressing, but it completely turned me around on the woman that was Amy Winehouse. If you've not seen it, I really recommend watching it. It's a documentary by Asif Kapadia.
Yep.
And what he does with this is there's no talking heads. So in traditional documentary fashion, what you would usually get is people would sit and they'd talk about the subject. Especially when it's someone who's passed away or posthumously. You can't really trust these things. You know, like you're only getting it from one side. You're getting it from the way that the guy who's making the documentary wants to perceive the subject.
Yeah.
What he does though is you just watch home footage, filmed from home cameras, filmed from the press, filmed from her own mobile phone cameras, from her friends and things like that. So you see all this basically as it was going down from her side, really. More than someone sitting there going, oh, this happened, and this happened. Like, you get a better understanding. And yeah, and I was trying to think of something I really, really judged wrong, really, really misjudged. And Amy Winehouse was just popped into my head when I was trying to think of it. And it was mainly down to this documentary because the way that her dad, Blake, and her manager, dealt with her.
They were just pure baddies, weren't they?
Yeah, it was disgusting. Like they should be thoroughly ashamed themselves.
Yeah.
The fact that they had like refused to have like some of the footage that showed them in a bad light in this documentary taken out, which says everything about it. One of her biggest hits about they tried to make me go to rehab, but I said no. That is not her. That was all her dad.
Yeah.
She came out. She was saying, "I need to do this. I need to go and get myself clean. I need to
you've got
get my
gigs
mind
to do.
clean." And all he cared about was, no, just carry on. You don't need to go to rehab. Just do your gigs. Do this. You know, you're fine as it is. You're fine as it is. And it just really, really changed my mind on her, and how much of a waste of a beautiful talent it actually is. So yeah, sorry for being all like.
No, it's good.
A game or a film that I thought was going to be shit and turned out to be.
I was exactly the same until I was a fan of her music.
I was.
My wife certainly was. But I didn't know an awful lot about her. And I'm the same as you. I just saw her as she was presented until I saw that. And then I was like,
I think at the time she came out in the pop music scene, I think she was an absolute breath of fresh air. It seemed like, obviously behind the scenes there was issues and traumatic things unfolding, but the way she presented herself, her look, her actual raw singing talent, then, at the time when the Cheeky Girls are in top 10, it's an absolute massive breath of fresh air for industry. I think she was absolute talent. I've never been a massive pop music person, but sometimes you get those earworms, and sometimes it's earworms for the bad reason. But with every Amy Winehouse song I've ever heard, even when it came out, I just thought absolutely slaps.
She was also the tip of the iceberg for that kind of 60s revival thing that you got in the mid 2000s, because you had like Duffy, she had a couple of singles like that sound, and
Paloma Faith.
Girls Aloud did a few singles like in that style of like 60s music.
And like
it's
I said,
empowering, wasn't it? It was.
I don't know why, but I think I just wrote her off because of the way that she'd been presented in the press.
Oh, she was in the newspaper every bastard day.
And things Have I Got News for You and Mock the Week and things like that. Where this documentary actually shows that was having a really bad negative effect on her. And as a teenager, I just kind of wrote her off and I was like, I don't want to listen to that music. Like, I don't want to listen to her. And I watched this documentary and I listened to music and I was like, fuck. Like, I really dropped the ball. Like when she was at the height of her popularity, and I really should have been paying attention and listening to that music. And now it's kind of too late. I can still enjoy the music, but it's too late to ever see her live or get anything new from her and appreciate a new album coming out.
It's a shame, innit?
Amy Winehouse is my first one.
Good pick, mate. Good pick. So we'll move over to Biggie.
So I picked something that you guys, apart from I think Stig, have experienced, and I was going to talk quite a bit about this, but then we had an email come through that summed it up quite well, and it's from Andre the Blacksmith himself, our Smashius Clay. I'm going to talk about Dark Souls. So he wrote in and said, "Dear all, the thing that I have misjudged the most went on to be my favourite game series of all time, Dark Souls. I was never someone that sought out difficult games. I didn't like feeling like my time was being wasted and there for my enjoyment, not struggle. So the marketing and internet chatter around Dark Souls sounded like something I'd hate. The Get Good crowd love to hold up the Souls series as some paragon of difficulty and obfuscation. I can't even say the word. Obfuscation, is that right?
Obfuscation.
Thank you. Thanks for throwing that word in.
What does it mean?
I don't know.
Like, if you obfuscate something, you like hide its meaning. It's like you purposefully make it vague.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for throwing
Writing that down.
So I just avoided it entirely, like that word. It wasn't until Bloodborne came out and a friend lent me his copy. He was going away for the weekend and insisted I try it, and that I finally give it a go and understood what all the fuss was about. The games are tough, but the difficulty feels fair. Enemies are rarely cheap, and deaths feel like they're your fault. I realised what I disliked wasn't hard games. It was the games where the difficulty just felt like someone had taken the normal game mode and added 50% to a boss's health bar and made them hit twice as hard. I still play a lot of games on easy, playing Resident Evil Village on casual right now, so sue me. But the Souls games have given me an appreciation for well-crafted difficulty in games, where it feels like part of the experience. Honourable mention also goes to Hades, an isometric roguelike. Nah, not my cup of tea. If it hadn't had about 6 months of glowing press, with everyone I listened to pushing it for Game of the Year, I probably wouldn't have bothered. But it was still only an Epic Games Store style, and an expiring coupon that got me to try it. Probably the best game of last year.
Yep.
I'm now going back through the studio's back catalogue. Bastion was excellent.
Yep.
And that's hugs from Smashes. But for Dark Souls, I always avoided that because I heard it was really hard.
Mm.
And it is certainly not a game that I would feel comfortable in playing. So I wouldn't go near it. And because I got stitched up for this pod,
So we threw you into the deep end and made you
that I
stream
ended
it.
up playing it. And it's such a strange game.
It's obtuse, isn't it?
I haven't finished it. I'm still playing it. I'm still enjoying it. And I hate it. And I love it. And I want to kill it. I want to kill myself. I want to finish the game. It's just such a weird feeling to play a game that's completely out of your comfort zone. It's not a game that I would play that way. I like my God of War, getting in there, hitting the shit out of stuff. I like
Being the
playing
strongest on
COD,
the screen.
Battlefield, shooting things. I like the fun that I get out of games. And this game is not fun, but it is.
It is.
So most people when they're on their first run of the original Dark Souls, and I'll probably lump the original Demon Souls in with this one, they get to round about where you are in the game, and you're kind of approaching the halfway mark, where it feels like you're in an abusive relationship. Because you don't want to give up on the game because you've already invested so much time getting so far, but you also remember like every time you beat a boss, like when you beat Quailag, the look on your face, you were so happy with it because you bested Blighttown and stuff like that.
And now I'm getting angry at the Iron Golem because he cheated me the other day.
It's considered one of the easiest bosses as well.
Yeah,
he's a roadblock for a lot of people.
Is it?
The thing is with Dark Souls as well, like. As you're approaching the halfway point of the game, most people would say is the most difficult bit of the game. Like the difficulty curve reaches its peak around the halfway point of the game, because after that point, I'm not going to explain why, but your power will increase significantly. Not because you get like massively
through
leveled
gameplay.
up. Through gameplay, because you will be able to
do something
min max. Yeah, you'll be able to min max and you'll be able to get around the map.
Yeah.
So when you get past a bit further on from where you are, you will probably find that you will feel very overpowered at times, and you will probably like not have as much bother. But I love the Dark Souls games for the same reason. Like they were such a challenge. Like now, as I've said before, whenever we brought it up, I can speedrun Dark Souls. I can get through it in a few hours, but I miss that time when I found it difficult. Because that difficulty, and I was the same as you. Like I remember watching videos of it on YouTube, early YouTube back in the day when it came out, and like thinking, I mean, I love the art style of this, but I'm never going to play that at all. Like, look how hard it looks, and like, it's like it's like, oh god, this game must hate you. It wants you to die all the time. So why would I want to play that? And then I played it, and then I was like, oh, I died. I want to do it again. And it's like you fall into it. It becomes like,
I was getting frustrated. Like the gargoyle fight was the one that nearly broke me, purely because. It seemed like every tactic I tried didn't work, and then I had two after me, and I was just like, oh, this is fucking ridiculous. And then someone said, well, why don't you summon someone? And I then felt like I cheated by summoning someone in to help me, because I was trying to do it on my own. That was the thing. I was like, people again have said to me on the odd boss battle along the way, why don't you summon someone? I'm like, no, because I feel like I can do these people on my own, and I can. But the gargoyle fight was a struggle, man.
You summoned an NPC for it. You didn't summon.
I don't care what anyone says.
Someone
on your first run, you'll summon at some point. I don't care what anyone says. You do it.
I mean, I still summon for one particular fight just to get through it quickly.
So do I. I mean, I unlike you, Big, I cheated with the Souls series because I played Kingsfield, which is the FromSoft games that inspired Demon Souls. I played Demon Souls when that came out, and then I played that. So I never had that feeling that I was always like, I know what's happening. And for me, what threw me off was Bloodborne, because it's like simplified.
Oh, Bloodborne
it fucks with you, and it's a bit more simplified. I couldn't cheese it. I couldn't do what I'd been taught. I couldn't block. I couldn't. Do you know what I mean? I had that for me. Bloodborne was my struggle. So I had to be aggressive. Yeah, I've been there, but for me, it was games and games and games down the line. Sekiro's pretty similar as well, but then I discovered how easy Sekiro is. It's the easiest game they've done by a massive margin, just because you can cheat.
Yeah. Also, Biggie, like if you, I remember seeing you getting frustrated with the gargoyles, and it was like when the second one appeared, you're like, oh, that's not fair. Imagine how me Noodles felt when we walked into Shadows of Yharnam and there's fucking 3 health bars. There's 3 of the bastards hurling fireballs at you.
It's just got to a point where I'm in a particular fight, and I'm just, when I'm fighting the I don't know what you would call the base enemies around the map. And, I'm sort of just coming up to them, I'm strafing to the right, and I'm not feeling particularly under pressure so much. Whereas before, when I first played, I was like, oh my God, this is too hard. But now I'm just strafing away, dodging moves. It's like, yeah, I've got this. And then you get that challenge that you slam against the wall.
The trouble is when you stream Dark Souls, especially when it's your virgin playthrough, everyone says, why don't you go see what the skeletons are doing? And then you just get fucked up.
Yeah, I worked that out.
It's because skeletons in games tend to be the easiest baddies.
A few in the chat that was saying, go down there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going down there. But I just want to say also thank you to everybody that supported me on those streams and been helpful, particularly Robot Monkey, Gadget himself. I think Deadbeat popped in.
I can't watch it too long because it stresses me out.
I know. There's loads of people that popped in to be supportive who know the game.
I can't watch this.
Helping me. Smashes has been.
He's in it, so yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, but yeah. I just thought you summed it up really well. And yeah, for me, I was really like, I'll never play that game, and now I have. I'm really glad.
The best thing is, mate, before we move on, is you've got the rest of the series to play, and once you've done this first hurdle, you're in. I did it with Demon Souls. Once I'd done Demon Souls, I was pre ready for every game in the series. So I think you'll be ready for it now.
1, 2, and 3 Dark Souls. I've got Neo, and I've got Sekiro.
Yeah.
Well.
I mean,
so there's a few there to keep me going.
Honestly, it opens up so many doors for you. Like Stig, he's fallen asleep now because he just won't even go near them because he's judging it. But it opens doors.
I played Bloodborne.
Yeah, good.
Oh, sorry, yes, I got Bloodborne as well.
Bloodborne's for my people don't agree with me, but for my it's the most departed game out of all of them. It's beautiful. It's
my favorite.
It's perfect. Don't get me wrong, but it's such a departure. But yeah, excellent. Well done. So we'll move over to we'll go to me because I'm going in order on my Zoom screen, so it's just easier for me to remember. The first thing I want to talk about is a book by Dan Brown.
Oh no! This won't end
get
well.
ready.
Oh, no.
It's which way are you going?
It's
this
a book
way? That you liked it, but it turned out to be shit.
It's
all
a
the way
book
around.
called Deception Point.
Oh, fuck off! I
don't know
that
this.
book so
Right,
much.
so I read the Da Vinci Code because everyone was reading it. I found it garbage. Garbage. Deception Point, writ it off straight away. I'm not going to read this. It's going to be shite. It's another Dan Brown. I think he wrote this before Da Vinci Code, didn't he?
Yeah, it was the book before he started doing Robert Langdon stories.
It's completely removed from all his mythos. I had no choice to read this book because I was in the hospital, and that's all they had.
I'm sure you had a choice.
No, I didn't. It was that or watch Family Fortunes and stuff like that on the telly.
Family Fortunes, if that's your choice, Deception Point or Family Fortunes, it's Family Fortunes.
So, before I tell you what I actually think, the novel follows White House intelligence analyst Rachel Sexton's involvement in corroborating NASA's discovery of a meteorite that supposedly contains proof of extraterrestrial life in Antarctica.
God.
Now, that's all I'm going to say on the book because the rest would be spoilerific. I loved this book. I
so much.
love this book. I've read this book 4 times
So
since.
bad. You've read it more than you've read fucking Rama, and that was your favourite book of your life.
I know. I just think, like all Dan Brown books, it's very easy to read because each chapter's 5 lines long. So you feel like you're making progress. It's a trick. It's a mind trick. All authors know this, and Gadget's absolutely shaking. He knows what it is. He's tricking everybody. But yeah, it's just a nice little removed from his. I know it's still his style, but it's removed from the Langdon gubbins, and it's just a nice take. I didn't see where it was going, and it went to places that I didn't expect, and I just really enjoyed it, and I'd written it off. The cover art's shit on the book, so we're judging.
I mean, to be fair, it is. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
It's just awful. It's really bad. It's just got basically all Dan Brown's cover arts are his name mainly, aren't they? Just Big Dan Brown.
Yeah.
It's not a very big book. I don't know. It just, and I don't like. I'm not even kidding. I've read all his books, and I think they're all crap apart from this. They're just really easy. You can.
Can I just ask something very quickly? Why do you hate the Da Vinci Code so much? Because I remember reading that, and it was just a fast-paced.
It's lies.
Book. It was just. But it was just a story. It was just entertaining.
No, he was
as
trying
it
to
was.
put it as fact.
It wasn't meant to be. Yeah, people thought it was, but I just enjoyed the read.
It's
it wasn't
not very
the best
well
story ever told.
written, though. That's the issue.
I couldn't tell you.
It's 300 and something pages of absolute utter fucking bollocks.
Yeah.
But
I think,
a lot of books anyway.
Well, yeah, but okay. So the problem I have with
You can say Lord of the Rings is, but
with
it's
all
a
of
different feeling. But
yeah, the problem I have with especially all the Robert Langdon books, but it's specific of Dan Brown, is he tries to write about stuff that he's got no fucking clue about. So it's
you can tell he's emailing
like,
someone that knows what they're on about, and he's just changing it.
Yeah, yeah. So he's got one where it goes into like the NSA. And he's got one where it goes into the stonemasons, and then there's obviously all these ones with the Catholic Church, with like the Da Vinci Code and angels and demons and stuff like that. And he's like trying to pull the curtain back on all these secret societies, all these.
He thinks he's a bit of a Snowden, doesn't he?
About. Yeah, but there is no fact in any of it. Like all the things in the Da Vinci Code with all the puzzles and stuff, it's like it's not a Resident Evil game.
But that's probably why I enjoyed it, because I probably saw it as like a game. I think when I read it.
I know if you can get into the vaults in the Vatican, they must have the most incredible things in there, because it's the fucking Vatican and it's one of the most secure vaults in the world. I get
mainly
that.
Money,
but he makes up utter shit, and it's and like the entire world is okay. So it's like, for me, it's like when
you're saying you don't like it.
I don't think he does.
No, hate it with a passion. It's like when 50 Shades of Grey was a thing. And people were going like, "Oh my god, you must read this book! It's the most amazing book." It's like, it's not. It's dross.
Fan
I read
dross
the first chapter of that, and I was like, "This is the worst writing I've ever read in my life."
I went to the
you
cinema
finished your wank
to
by that
watch
point,
that.
hadn't you, Stig? By
awful.
First chapter.
I'm
done.
They're these books.
These are the contents page.
They're these books that hit like the zeitgeist in some weird way, like, and I don't know if it's they just hit like a certain market and then it explodes wildly. But like you'd walk into like a Waterstones or a W.H. Smith and you'd see like huge stacks.
I like
of
that
these
there's
books
Dan Brown
around.
sections.
Every
He's done about
person who walks
7
past
books.
picks them up.
And then after those series finishes, the stuff that the author brings out afterwards just never gets discussed. Ever.
No.
Ever.
Well,
Right, back to your book, Oodles.
Yeah, deception. No, it's fine because
Sorry about that.
I'm not going to turn around and say this is a well-written tome of absolute pure knowledge. It's not. It's like
you're trying to imply
it is good, but it's like one of those. Kind of what Biggie's kind of saying with the Da Vinci Code, but not to that level. It's kind of like those them drama podcasts you listen to. It's kind of like that in book form. Not the very good ones, some of the really bad ones. But I don't know. I felt like it was like light entertainment reading. Because like
that's how I found the Dan Brown one.
Well, they're all Dan Brown ones.
Yeah.
But he does that. He does that thing. I mean, bear in mind this was on Oprah's book club, so it must be good.
It means it must be popular.
Yeah, that's what it meant.
Good.
And
Dr. Phil was on Oprah's book club.
Yeah, it's just,
and he's not even a doctor.
No, it's just. I don't know. It was just really like all his books of twists. He's the M Night Shyamalan of authors. Yeah. You know, there's a twist, and with this film, the twist comes quite The twist comes quite early on. It like a lot of books, you've got your blurb at the back that tells you what it's about. This leaves the blurb very early on in the book, and it just turns into something else. I really like the main character, and the naming conventions that he has for his characters, though, are fucking shoddy, ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know, I just liked it. It's a nice little, there's a bit of espionage in it, not as crazy as the NSA Codebreaker one he did. That's Jesus Christ.
I also love the Wikipedia description of some of the characters.
Go on.
So, okay, so you have Rachel Sexton, who is your main character, an analyst for NRO and Senator Sexton's daughter. Rachel's relationship with her father is antagonistic because of his infidelity, which indirectly contributed to her mother's death in an accident. I mean, this is the standard of writing. But my favorite one out of this entire list, I'm not going to go through all of them, is Corky Marlinson.
Oh, Corky, yeah.
Wow.
He's a world-renowned astrophysicist
Yep.
and a staunch proponent of the authenticity of the meteorite.
Yep.
Corky has little knowledge of proper social conduct. Corky survives a shark attack.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
What it says!
That's what he says in the book.
Was he trying to jump it?
Yeah.
I just seriously, it's proper. It's popcorn reading. If you want to give it that.
Stop calling shit things popcorn reading.
This is the popcorn podcast.
Yeah.
I want some.
There's Oodles trying act like people trying to justify Army of the Dead. Here he goes trying to justify this book. Just turn your brain off. Eat some popcorn.
Deception point. 9 out of 10. So yeah, we'll move over to Gadget before he has an aneurysm.
The thing is, I there was a few things.
I knew when I wrote this down this was going to happen.
There's a few things I was trying to think of, like what could I bring for this one, because I've got a pretty good track record of not judging things by a cover. But I did manage to find two things. So one of them I'm going to talk about, I've talked about it a few times, but I'm going to talk about the Yakuza series of games. Because
I didn't know you played them.
Well, yeah, I've talked. You obviously don't listen when I speak on this podcast.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too much into it because I have talked about them a fair bit, but the Yakuza games are you play as Kazuma Kiryu, a member of the Yakuza in Kamurocho, which is like a fictionalized version of a bit of Tokyo, I think.
Yeah, it is.
And the gameplay is primarily kind of a brawling game, and it's wrapped up with this ridiculous Japanese soap opera full of conspiracy and characters and moody cutscenes and all this kind of thing.
It's Shenmue.
And yeah, effectively. And I always looked at the covers of them, and I always looked at what they were, and I just thought, I'd hate that. I'd really, really hate that. Because like the only brawler game I've ever liked was Streets of Rage 2. I've never been I'm not a big fan of brawler games. I'm not a big fan of fighting games. Because I'm terrible at them. Like I can never remember combos. I'm never quick enough to manage to do the fighting properly.
We've got Street Fighter tournament coming up, guys.
Oh, fuck that. I'll referee it. In fact, I'll commentate. I'll be a shoutcaster for it, but I won't be playing it. But yeah, so when I got the Xbox, when it came out in November, I was kind of flicking through Game Pass and Yakuza 0 was there. I thought, I've got Game Pass. It's not going to cost me anything. I'll give it a try because people have said it's a good one. And fuck me, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Like, the combat I still found difficult, and I was playing on it. I should have, for what I wanted from the game, played on easy mode. I played on normal, and some of the bits were brutally hard. Because I didn't really get the combat until maybe like the last third of the game. But I enjoyed every minute of that game. They're mad. They're absolutely insane. They are possibly some of the strangest games I've ever played. They revel in their excess. Like they're long games anyway, but like they just allow it. They allow it to get. It presents itself as this kind of almost realistic game where like everything's really well detailed and people look realistic and sound realistic. And then they do crazy shit like you have a boss fight with one of the leaders of a Yakuza family in a sewer while the guy's riding a motorcycle beating you in the stomach with a metal pipe at 50 miles an hour.
Does that not happen in Newcastle?
No. Happens in Leeds, I think,
yeah.
in Newcastle. But yeah, like stuff like that. Like it revels in its silliness in places. And since I got the Xbox, I've played through Yakuza 0. I've played through Yakuza Kiwami, which is the remake of the first one. About halfway through Kiwami 2, which is the remake of the very second game. Yeah, I think they're brilliant.
Have you played Judgment yet?
No, because I'm going to work through them in order. So once I finish Kiwami 2, I'll go into 3, 4, 5.
I've played 3 of them, and Judgment's my favourite.
Yeah, I hear Judgment's a real high point. That's kind of a spin-off more than anything, but it's the same style of game.
Same land, really, same place.
Yeah. But yeah, I just found myself getting really invested in Kiryu's story. I like I really like the silly shit that comes out of it. There's some stuff I don't like. I don't like the hostess bar stuff and the general kind of veil of creepiness that you get, because it's like a mix of kind of 80s, 90s, and early 2000s Japanese male culture, and it's just you feel a bit dirty about things. Like there was one thing that Kiwami did, which I thought started off me thinking was really, really good, which was there is a subplot where you basically become friends with the hostess at a hostess bar. And when you first start talking to her, she's quite forward with the fact that she's gay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you end up having quite a sweet little friendship with her. I thought, oh, that's actually lovely, because that kind of turns the idea of you going and paying for a woman's company. Yeah. It kind of turns it around on its head. Until I looked through the achievement list, and there's an achievement for sleeping with her. Yeah. And I thought, no, yep. You started so well, and you fucked it up, didn't you?
It's awful to say, but it is a boy game. Do you know what I mean? That's
and not in a good way.
Not in a good way.
Yeah. But the actual, that's all side stuff. You don't have to do that kind of stuff. If you just go for the core story, I really enjoy them. So yeah, I put off playing them for years and years and years, and then when I actually finally did it, was just like, holy shit, I really like this, and I've got now like fucking 7 more games ahead of me to play, and they're all about 30 hours long. I'm going to be here for years.
Oh yeah. The only thing that could bring me back to that series would be if they released the is it the Edo era one, where it's like old samurai.
Yeah.
If they released that over, I'd play that, but it's just not a thing I'm into.
Which is fair enough. Like I say, I didn't expect to enjoy it.
That's what I liked about Judgment, because you weren't a member of the Yakuza, so I don't know.
The thing is, the way the stories go is like, I don't think you ever actually do much Yakuza
Oh no, do you
work.
fuck? you look in supermarkets for a long time because they look really good.
Like the most Yakuza thing you do is at the very start of Yakuza Kiwami, where you have to go and shake some guys down for some money, and then the plot happens, and then
you've got no time to be a gangster, then have you?
Yeah, when the plot happens, you actually end up being the good guy for all of it.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like you might as well just think of it as like being an undercover policeman for all of the series, because
I get that.
Everything you're doing is against the Yakuza.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, I mean, in the prequel and the first game, you managed to destroy 4 Yakuza families.
Oh yeah, you're an absolute wrecking machine, aren't you? He's the toughest man in existence.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love Kiryu. He's amazing.
Yeah, I like him.
The man never smiles. He's got a scowl permanently on his face.
He would not. He'll never say no to a karaoke competition.
Absolutely not. In fact, just for you listeners, I'm going to drop in some of Kazuma's karaoke.
The first one he does from Zero is the best. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, it's hilarious.
Excellent, thank you. So we'll go swiftly back to Stig.
Yeah, my next one is quite a broad subject.
Oh. Podcasting.
Wrestling.
It's just indie games.
Oh, okay. I think I see where you're going with this.
Might be the broadest of subjects, but okay.
Yeah.
No, well, not when you consider where I'm coming from. I obviously played video games since the late 80s, early 90s, but until probably the Vita / the Switch era, I've stopped playing the games.
It was all AAA like me.
AAA, AA games, FIFA's, CODs.
Yeah, I was same up until about the Vita as well, mate.
Yeah, like third person.
Might want to explain for the non-gamers in the audience what a AAA or a AA game is.
Okay,
at least what the difference is between the two.
So basically, AAA games are your big budget games. So think of them in the terms of a big budget blockbuster
Call
film.
of Duty type thing.
Like, yeah, the big, like, so if it's the single player ones, you're talking like your Tomb Raiders,
Grand Theft
your
Auto.
Uncharted, your Grand Theft Autos, your God of Wars, and then, the likes of your sports games like FIFA or your shooters like COD, things like that.
They tend to be games that cost as much as films.
Yeah, like huge, like
Yeah.
mass marketed games for
The ones you see on the side of buses.
general public. And then you have obviously like your indie games, which are niche games,
Small teams.
small teams, not a lot of money and things. And so a lot of my gaming, I don't know why, I just never really played indie games. I mean, there might have been some in there which I never really realised were indie games, but predominantly was just the well-known ones, not
same,
things
mate.
that I'm going to talk
I'll
about.
admit I was same.
And then I started like listening to gaming podcasts and joining gaming communities, and people are like, "Oh, have you tried this? Have you played this?" And they talk about it on the podcasts, and people would discuss about it. And I was like, "Do you know what? I'll give these a go." Some of them are just absolutely fucking amazing, and it's like, and you just feel like, how have I spent all this time just ignoring these games because that looks a bit shit. That doesn't look.
I remember
that game's only 4 hours long. There's no point in that.
Yeah,
and just being really just like turned off by that kind of stuff, and like, oh well, this isn't a 30-hour massive cinematic game. What's the point?
They look old. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Or like, why do I want to play a game that looks like 16-bit when it's
I remember the first
PS4
indie
generation.
game I actually played and paid money for. It was Braid, and that changed a lot for me. I was like, oh fuck. Do you know what I mean? It's quite late on as well. Braid, because 360 I think it came out on, didn't it?
Yeah, it was part of that 360 summer of indie thing where they had like 4 or 5.
Actively paid money for a game that I knew wasn't massive budget, and I was like, holy shit. I know obviously I've probably played some Game Boy games, SNES games and stuff and PlayStation games that were technically indie games and probably not realised.
Well, Sony did a massive push, didn't they? At one point, they were really pro indie. They were putting a lot of support behind them.
On PS4 they did, but...
And now Microsoft have sort of come around the other side, and now...
They were good on
really
360 though,
indie.
Microsoft, with the indie push. Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't like until I got a PS4, and at that same time I got a Vita, and then the Switch is just like...
God, yeah.
The Switch is just the perfect console for indie games.
Oh, yeah.
It is like play, especially when like because some of them do have these like toned down graphics or like a bit, some of them are 8-bit or 16-bit like graphics on purpose. Playing them on a big screen kind of washes away a lot of what makes it look.
A 4K
good,
monitor, it's like what's the point in what? Yeah.
So putting it on my 55-inch TV just looks a bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't really give the effect of the same of just playing it on that
Except
little
Hollow Knight,
screen.
obviously.
Never played Hollow Knight on my screen.
Oh,
I just played it on the Switch.
Stunning.
But yeah, Hollow Knight is the perfect example. It is in my top 5 games of the last generation.
100%.
Before this last generation, I would have just looked at something like that and gone, nah, not interested. But I gave these games a go and found out that some of them are absolutely amazing. I've got a list here with some of them. I think the first one that I kind of jumped in on, I think it was from listening to TCGS, and Dave was talking about Hotline Miami a lot.
Yep, great game.
Yeah, so Hotline Miami, jumped in on that. Guacamelee.
Yeah.
And then Life is Strange is classed as an indie game, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just published by Square.
Yeah.
It's not made by them, so yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it's things like that. But then, like, Inside, Night in the Woods, Piku Niku, yeah, that's how you pronounce it, isn't it? Celeste, Firewatch, Grease, like, some of these I've absolutely loved playing. And
I adore Celeste.
yeah, Celeste is so good. And the story behind it as well, it's just really, it's so clever. Like,
I played through Celeste at a time when things were a bit dark for me, and watching kind of Madeline's story as you went through, and I know like now that the kind of the DLCs come out for it and the creator has revealed what the true extent of Madeline's story actually is, which is different to what it hit me with in the first place. But when I played through it, like, all of Madeline's kind of anxieties and her fears and stuff like that, like, hit me because I was going through anxiety.
She was literally climbing a mountain of anxiety, wasn't she?
Yeah, and it was just like, holy shit! Like, and also the game's brutally difficult.
It is.
But when you get through it, like, even if you don't bother with like all the bonus stuff or like the extra hard levels or the B-sides or whatever, and you just get through it, it's so satisfying. And it's like, was it a team of like 5 people made it or something like that? It like tiny team.
It's one of the only platform games that's made me emotional. Braid
I
kind
think
of
that.
hit me, but not in that kind of way. It's a different type of emotion. Some others have. Hollow Knight, when you look into the story of it, that kind of hits you. But yeah, Celeste and Grease, fucking hell, I were welling up by the end of that.
Yeah.
Whew.
Inside is another one as well that hits you.
Yeah.
That side of it when you kind of
Inside makes you go, what the fuck?
when you kind of analyse what it is. What I think the game and the story.
We've
is
had an
about.
argument about this, me and you, haven't we?
Not an argument.
A discussion.
Discussion. Yeah.
Have you got Little Nightmares on that list? Because that was an indie game that's worth playing in the same vein as kind of Inside.
Yeah, Little Nightmares.
No,
is really
there's
good.
so many. There's so many. I'm trying to like catch up on because of the fact that. And do you know what? The one of the biggest things that made me realise how much of an idiot I am to ignore some of these was when Rocket League was put on PS Plus.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and went, "That looks like a load of shit."
It's one of the best games ever made.
Football with cars. That looks shit. And everyone went, "This is amazing." And then I tried it and I was like, "This is fucking amazing." So I ended up having to pay for it because I was an idiot and ignored the PS Plus.
Mate, Rocket League's top 5 sports games of all
Yeah,
time.
Rocket League is incredible and it's so much fun with your friends.
Yeah.
But just by looking at it, I was like, no.
Yeah.
And I'm just being the same with like, I mean, you look at something like Night in the Woods, like that is just a pure walking around narrative, talking to people. You do a few little mini games, but it's, you know, there's
People
a time
wrote
in my life
Minecraft off at the beginning.
Yeah, I would have looked at that and just gone, no, like these little cute animal people talking to each other. Like there's nothing going on. Why
Give
would
me
I
Devil
bother?
May Cry instead.
Yeah, why would I bother putting 5 or 6 hours into this? But it's worth it.
Yeah,
Because
it is, man.
there's a lot, and one of the good things about indie games is they have a lot more freedom to do stuff and try new things, and especially with the stories and how they want to tell it, but also like especially with the gameplay as well, as you'll find stuff like Hotline Miami is just like nothing I've ever played before, and I just think that you would never get that from a top publisher.
Yeah,
Like AAA games are very safe.
yeah.
There are brilliant AAA games that I absolutely love, but they are safe games. Whereas you don't get that with indies. They will say, "We've got an idea, we're going to do that," and they'll put it out, and then hopefully it'll catch on. So yeah,
there's usually
a
no
whole
marketing push
world
with
of
with an indie game either. There's literally zero marketing.
No, it's a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah, and Twitter.
A lot of word of mouth, a lot of creativity. Like there was one I saw because I saw it on, I think it might have been a Games Done Quick, which I like. Baba Is You.
Never heard of it.
That's such a clever game.
So it's,
smart.
Yeah, it's a devilishly hard little puzzle game, but it's so clever. So it's basically you play a little character called Baba. He's just this little kind of amorphous glob kind of thing, and there's some text on the screen that says Baba Is You.
Okay.
And they'll also say like flag is win, and then you can take Baba and you can push those words apart.
Isn't that coding?
And you can make sort of, yeah. so you have 2 sentences: Baba is you and flag is win. So you push win away from flag.
That's coding.
Push it over the Baba, and so win is you.
That sounds
You
mint.
win. And
It's so good.
it's such a hard concept to explain, but yeah, when you look into it, and you go, it's maddening sometimes because you have to be so creative to beat some of these puzzles.
Yeah.
And it's the good kind of puzzle game where you feel like a real fucking idiot once you work some of these things out.
Yeah.
There was one particular level where we was trying to finish it, and I couldn't get my head around what I was supposed to do, and I was like, oh, and then it just clicked, and I turned Bubba into like the whole mountain background, and I just moved that, and that then opened up where I need to go and hit the flag, and I was just like, oh my god, it keeps telling you how to do it, but you keep forgetting.
Is it more of a game you
it's
think
a game.
inside of the box rather outside of the box? Because you
think
know the
inside,
rules.
outside, and around it.
Yeah.
It's a game that rewards overthinking and underthinking.
Ah.
Yeah.
It's like when I say when we're doing the Scorched Sheep recordings that you can do whatever you want. Like the rules can.
And then
be
you get
bent to
you
apply
get
to
choice
whatever you want.
paralysis, don't you? You're like, oh,
Exactly, yeah. And Baba Is You gives you that, but it's so clever how it's implemented.
it's the ultimate puzzle.
It was made by one dude.
Oh shit, I'm going to
No
get that
marketing.
then.
Yeah.
I think it's only on the PC, but
it'll play
No, it's on the Switch.
I'll play it on
Switch
my
as well.
laptop. I like puzzle games with the mouse.
But it's one of those. One dude made it. It had no marketing push. I only heard about it because it was on a Games Done Quick.
Yeah.
And then someone else on a podcast talked about it, or a Game Maker's Toolkit might have talked about it. Either way, it was like one of those like really tiny little word of mouth things. And it's one of the best games I've ever played.
Wow.
Well, look at
It's
like
really cool.
Disco
Really
Elysium. That's
Word
of mouth
that.
got that out, and it's incredible.
Yeah.
I absolutely fucking love that game. And like same with like I'll just finish on this one. I think I've talked about this on an earlier episode a long time ago, but Thomas Was Alone is a game where you play as rectangles and squares, but it's just a really great puzzle game with an amazing soundtrack, a really good narrative behind it.
It's really sad.
And it's and it really is sad and poignant and melancholic. And you just like, I'm just pushing squares and rectangles around here, but it's so good. And like, like if someone said to you, "Play Thomas Was Alone," and you Googled it and looked at the image, and you'd look at it and go, "Why?"
Yeah, it's not a game.
Like you look at the image and you'd be like, "What is this? Why would I want to play this?" And I was very similar to that until I just open your mind a bit more with indie games. Seriously, like if someone suggests something to you, just have a look at it, maybe just a little watch through or play a demo or something, and play more indie games because I think you'll find something there that you'll love that you didn't think that you would.
But a lot of people if you're more of a casual slant on the game, like you buy FIFA and Call of Duty every year. If you don't buy one of those, you can buy like 50 indie games. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you'll have way more fun, and you won't be as annoyed.
You just wander the halls of itch.io and see what you can find.
Yeah, you can.
Unless loot boxes.
And most of them play on a fucking calculator, so there's no excuse. But yeah, that's a good one, that Stig. So we'll move on to Biggie.
So I just wanted to discuss a country.
You've written off a country? Wow.
So you've got Denmark.
Yeah.
And out of Denmark, you've got Danish food, Danish bacon.
Yummy, 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 yum.
Lurpak.
There's other Danish stuff.
Oh, it's a Deadbeatpunk, damn it.
A lot of people don't talk about TV shows.
Oh.
And Danish TV has some of the best cop dramas or police detective dramas out there.
Was it?
So, yeah, you need to walk past. I know a lot of you guys here like subtitled stuff, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly recommend Borgen, The Killing, and The Bridge. Now, The Killing and The Bridge have both been made by the US into TV series as well. But the original's just so much better. Again, it's about the performance, about the acting. It's all there in the original. So go and watch The Killing. Go and watch The Bridge. Both fantastic Scandinavian TV series. They're so good.
Wow.
Just the drama that they pull off, with the sort of again. I'll take The Killing for example. The effect that it has on the main detective, how her life is torn apart in dealing with such an atrocious murder to deal with. The Bridge has a main character that has her own issues. She's not comfortable with people. She has a very strange personality because of, I've forgotten what it is now, actually. I'd have to look back and find out what condition she has, but she's very odd with people. And she just does it so well, how she stays in that character throughout the whole series and still manages to be the best detective they have. And yeah, the stories are just really well acted. And yes, the American versions are actually quite good, but it's all about the originals. So please don't knock.
Do you know what I like about the European
foreign shows
and stuff like that? Like I watched Dark and stuff like that.
It's just
example. The scenery, because these are older countries than like America. All the cities look exactly the same. You watch something set in Denmark, man. That's a medieval city.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It just looks gothic. It looks better for my eyes. Like people wouldn't think twice about reading a detective novel set in Denmark, a book, but people are, I'm not reading a show. Fucking read it. I read most of my shows, even if they are in English. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things. Yeah, I like that, mate. I'm writing them down as well.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, I think they were on iPlayer at some point. I think some have been on Netflix. You'd have to do a bit of a hunt around, I'm afraid. But yeah, just please don't knock foreign television, particularly Eastern Europe. It's awesome. Some great stuff.
I was just going to say that as well. Like, that's like so many people judge stuff by it. Oh, that's a foreign film. I can't be bothered to
Yeah, I tried to get loads of my mates to watch Parasite, and I'm not watching that.
Get over that hurdle of having to read subtitles, because you'll discover so many amazing films and like other mediums out there.
Absolutely.
Even the best dubbing is never good enough.
No.
Like, it never can be. It never can.
You watch some old Dragon Balls, man. Horrible. Horrible.
Jackie Chan movies, man.
Like one of my favourite non-English films is Spirited Away.
Yeah.
And the American dub of it is fine.
It's fine, isn't it?
There's nothing wrong with it, but it pales in comparison to the original dub with subtitles.
Yep.
Yeah, it always does.
Yep.
I mean, I absolutely love Your Name, but the English subtitles is...
Thank you.
Sorry. The English dub is terrible. I think a lot of the time with these things, it all depends on the budget. Like, so if it's a Studio Ghibli, they've got a lot more money to hire better voice actors and like professionals. Like you'd find like in Ponyo, the dad in that is Liam Neeson, and Howl in Howl's Moving Castle is Christian Bale.
Yeah, you can always tell.
Yeah, but everything's better with subtitles for foreign films. Yeah. Never watch the dubs.
Yeah,
subs before dubs, baby.
I think especially with animated films as well, because they animate the characters to the original actor's performance.
Yes.
So no matter how good an actor is subbing on top of it, the performance has already been applied to the character,
and the voice sounds like it's coming out the right person.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, really.
Yeah, there's often as well things kind of lost in translation, which don't really kind of make sense when an English person says it.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Yeah. I'll tell you the plot of the very first episode of The Bridge.
Yeah, do it.
I just had to remind myself of it because I was just like, there was something really, really cool about it. And it starts, so this isn't ruining anything because this is revealed right at the beginning for The Bridge, is that when a body apparently cut in half at the waist is discovered in the middle of the Öresund Bridge, which connects Copenhagen with Malmo, so you've got Denmark and Sweden. The body is cut in half and placed exactly where one half is in Sweden and one half
jurisdictions.
is in Denmark. And jurisdiction is just and it's such a clever starting point.
I'm absolutely in.
Yeah.
It's great.
It is so good. Really do recommend that.
Excellent. So I've got I was going to talk about Titanfall 2, but I've talked about that because I judged that massively, but I've not quite finished it. It might shit the bed before the end.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
If you're happy with it now, then you're
that's fine. And I was going to talk in depth about Rocky Horror Picture Show as well, but I've talked about that as well because I judged that massively until I dressed up and went to see it live.
I reckon that's one that I think I would be. That when I was younger, I'd be like, I don't know.
It's the same with me, mate.
Why would I watch this? But now I just need to find time because I really want to watch it.
It's so good.
Stop watching Hamilton.
No.
But
don't judge Hamilton. Hamilton's amazing.
But my main last one I want to discuss, and we have discussed this before, but it's as soon as we thought, don't judge a book by its cover, that it's just instantly popped into my head. It's The American Office. I loved The Office, loved.
Mm-hmm. Same.
And then I heard they're doing an American version. And this is before the American versions were always shit. Do you know what I mean? It's just before the big copying us for everything. And I was just like, I can't.
I think there's a few. They did a Red Dwarf, which was horrendous.
They did a few, but it's not as bad as it is now.
The best one, if you can see that, is the pilot they did for IT Crowd.
With Richard Ayoade's in it, isn't it?
Richard Ayoade's in it, but they've got Joel McHale from Community playing Roy.
He's too good looking.
Whoa, yeah.
I was going to say he's too buff.
Yeah, he's gorgeous. Oh no! But yeah, with The American Office, I was still writing it off up until the end of season 2. I was like, this is just a rehashed version of what we got. And then I thought, do you know what? I'll give series 3 a watch. And wow. Something clicked. Something changed.
It does click.
And I know Gervais still produces it, probably executive producer. He's probably not there, really. There's still his soul in it, but something happens with Steve Carell. Michael Scott stops becoming a twat and starts becoming our twat. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, he still remains a twat.
Oh yeah, but he's
throughout,
ours,
but
isn't
he
he?
becomes.
No,
yeah.
I know what you mean. I know what oodles means. You actually kind of reach.
Yeah,
in your own little way.
yeah. And it's from season 3 on. If you've never watched it, I recommend start season 3 because it's a recap anyway. And it just goes. I mean, don't get me wrong, it drops the ball towards the end of the later series, but there's something there in the middle series. Seasons. I know people get pissed off when you say series because that's everything, isn't it? Yeah. Seasons. The middle seasons, it's magic. It's absolute magic. We've all seen it, haven't we?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dwight Schrute is
he's genius. He's better than Gareth. He's way better than Gareth.
Oh yeah.
And Jim you start loving Jim. Pam's got a better role than English counterpart. Everyone, I
love that you know that she's Pam, but it's English counterpart Dawn.
Yeah. I always forget because Dawn's.
It's Pam and Jim and Dawn and Tim.
Because Dawn doesn't do much, does she, in the English? Because Pam didn't do much in the first 2 seasons of
true.
American Office, but then on season 3, the background characters that you've been seeing, and some of them have just miraculously disappeared as well from season 3 onwards. But they start becoming characters in themselves.
Yeah, they really
and
do.
you can tell these people weren't actors at first. And if you watch like makings of it and stuff, they weren't actors. A lot of them are producers and writers of the show. They're just there. And
I think it's the guy who plays Creed. Creed Batten is
that's
actually
his name. Yeah.
He was just a mate of the director, and he turned up
He's a
one
bit of
day.
a nutter, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a nutter. But a lot of them are just people that worked on set, like Toby. He's one of the writers of the show, and that's on the episodes that he writes for. He's not on because he doesn't write himself in it because he doesn't like to act, which is just incredible.
Well, that's why his performance is so flat as well, because he's not an actor.
Yeah, exactly. And
he's so good in that. He does crack me up.
And it's just so pure. It drops off when I'll be honest. It drops off when Michael Scott leaves. It really does.
It should have just ended.
It should have just ended. But money's money, isn't it? There's just something about it. It's one of those. I mean, I know there's Parks and Rec and stuff like that have come out, and some people say it's surpassed it. I don't think it's surpassed it. It's just I wrote it off so quickly in my head. And I've gone to things before like, oh, they're doing American In-Betweeners, I'll watch that. No, all right, it's shite. It doesn't seem to happen that often that it surpasses the original. Do you know what I mean?
No.
And it's like I thought when they were going to do a Snowpiercer show on Netflix. I thought, I love Snowpiercer. This show's going to be. It's not. It's not.
I like Snosh. I disagree.
Do you?
I'm not
seeing
I think Snowpiercer's really good.
I don't think it's bad. Don't get me wrong, but the American Office, and you can fight me, is better than the English one.
No, I'd say that because I like what the English one did.
Yeah, so did I.
When it did,
because I love David Brent.
Like, if you watch it back now, it's aged so poorly.
It really has.
I know, and like David Brent was always an arsehole.
Yeah,
but now if you watch it, he's just an abusive.
He's a bigot.
He's really horrible person.
Yeah.
I think he always was supposed to be there. That was the point.
No,
it wasn't.
I don't think.
I think
we were supposed to root for him a little bit.
I also think the performance has aged badly as well. Like I think
he's better in extras and stuff like that, isn't he, Gervais?
Yeah. Whereas with Michael Scott, like Michael Scott says some really heinous shit from time to time. The racial sensitivity episode is fucking so bad.
But that's the thing about it. You can say an episode and you just in your head you've watched it immediately in your head. It's so good.
It seems to come from a place of like childlike ignorance.
It is ignorance. It is.
There's a moment where there's a moment that I think explains Michael Scott's character really well, which is it's in one of the later seasons, and he's found this like videotape of him as a child on a TV show.
Oh,
or something.
yeah.
And the host says to him something like this: what would you wish for if you, or what would you want if you could have anything in the world? He said, I'd want 1 million children so they'd all be my best friend.
Yeah, because he's got no mate.
And I was just like, oh, okay.
If you remember, his best mate at school was the dinner lady.
But also on the flip side, there's also that scene with Toby where he goes, he's given an imaginary gun who do you want to shoot? And
Toby.
he's got like Adolf Hitler and somebody else. And he goes, I'd shoot with 2 bullets. He goes, I'd shoot Toby twice in the head.
It's because he's HR, he's corporate, he doesn't like corporate. But the best thing that personifies it for me is the only episode of The American Office I've only watched once because I can't watch it anymore because it makes me cringe. It's the one where he promised tuition for the kids at school.
Oh no! Oh, Scott's Tots. Yeah. No, I can't watch that one.
You can only watch that episode once, and every time I say it, everyone does what Gadget's just done. And he's like, "Don't worry, guys, I've got you all laptop batteries." It is. I've only ever seen that episode. I skip it when I binge because you always go back to The Office. It's one of those beautiful things. Now I've mentioned it. A lot of people listen to this will just start watching it again. But you have to skip Scott's Tots. You have to because it is. Oh God, it's awful. It's chaotic. It's just.
You should just. I've heard people say now though, you can skip season 1 of the US Office.
You can skip 2.
Yeah, just don't bother.
You can skip 2 as long as you know that. Spoiler alert: that Jim kissed Pam at the end of season 2.
I would say you can still watch it because then you could probably even more appreciate how bad it started and then got to the point where it is good.
Yeah,
because it tried too hard to be the British one. I would say watch it.
It was more or less script for script, but changed for American audiences. That's basically it. And we'll move on to Gadget lastly with his final pick, I'm assuming.
Yeah, final pick. I was in 2 minds on this one, so I have 2 very quick ones because I don't have a lot to say on either of them.
Yes.
One of them is going to be an honourable mention, but we're pushing on for time, so I'll just throw it in here. First one is early 2000s alternative music. Alternative rock music, rather. No. Alternative rock as opposed.
Oh, not new metal.
In the 2000s, I was into new metal. I was a new metal kid. I had the Korn t-shirts. I was into Papa Roach, Linkin Park, all that kind of shit. I really ignored stuff like Radiohead and Smashing Pumpkins and stuff.
Oh, right.
And it wasn't until last year that I actually listened to, for the very first time, Kid A.
No way.
And it's legitimately one of the greatest albums I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Also listened to In Rainbows for the first time, which I think might be one of the best things I've ever heard, like just best collections of sounds I've ever heard. 15 Steps is amazing. I've never heard a pop song in 5/4 before that worked that well.
Yeah.
But also the other one I listened to at the time when I kind of went into this little bit of a deep dive on it was Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. Because I'd always written Smashing Pumpkins off. They're not early 2000s, it's the mid-90s.
Just a little mangy band.
Yeah, just like a fucking moaning, whinging,
it's because he's a bit of a bellend as well, though, isn't he?
Well, yeah, but it's like, I kind of just like, I remember hearing, in the early 2000s, I remember hearing Today. Yeah. And just thinking, remember hearing just the way that he sings, Today is the greatest. Yeah. I was just like, oh, it's miserable, give me a guitar riff. And so, for some reason, I just decided to listen to Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. And it started so grand, there's orchestra, it's huge. And but then it moves on to the really raucous songs, and like the first time you hear that lyric where it's like, despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage. Yeah. And it's so violent and raw and it's powerful, and it's just like, oh, I've missed out on shit. Yeah. I've missed out on some good shit. This was really good stuff. So yeah, like I've kind of over the years anyway, I've become less of a metalhead, and I've opened. It's
that musical bias. I've let go of it as well. It's like, I can't listen to that, but now I like Prince more than I like Metallica. I wouldn't have never said that 20 years ago.
Yeah, like in the early 2000s, I was such a metal elitist. Same. It had to be as metal and brutal as possible. I was practically a fucking Death Clock fan.
You're basically Stigveld.
See, that's one of the ones I was thinking of was like the opposite of that. Like I was kind of like liking the new metal stuff, but I instantly looked at people like the bands like Rammstein or Slipknot, and I looked at them.
It's too horrible.
And was like, that's not for me.
Yeah.
They're shit. Now I absolutely love them.
Yeah,
like I just kind of looked. I just looked at them and just went, "Nah, they're shit." Fuck them.
Like I said,
running
they
around
need a
in
wash.
masks and like that. It's like,
well, yeah, like Slipknot were one I bounced off quite early on because again of how they looked, because it was the mask.
It's
same with like
terrifying.
Mushroom Head. I bounced off Tool for the longest time because the fucking video for Schism was terrifying.
Still is.
Yeah, I mean, it still is, but it's one of the most incredible albums I've ever heard.
I was saying with Nine Inch Nails, I was terrified of 9 Inch Nails as a kid.
Yeah, But yeah, like listen to this kind
Aphex
of
Twin
this,
videos.
Oh, that's still terrifying to this day.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like this alternative. I don't know how you would describe this kind of alternative indie, alternative rock sound.
Nickelback.
No, I'm talking
rock.
good music.
Oh right. Shit rock. I like that. That's a
Yeah.
good way to describe it.
Imagine that as a section in HMV. Shit rock.
It's just Nickelback, innit?
Yeah. Like my main experience of Radiohead up until recently was just the stuff off their first couple of albums. Like I really like Creep. I liked
Street Spirit.
Just, I thought, and Street Spirit. Those three songs, they were
the big ones, weren't they?
Yeah, but because they were rock songs and like you could hear the band in them, whereas like I knew they got really weird and electronica and stuff like that. And it was so I never gave it the time of day because I thought, oh no, it's this pretentious, miserable shit. Give me some guitars, and not realizing how wildly overproduced all that new metal stuff was. I was listening to
That's
anyway.
Awful.
But yeah, just a fucking Kid A is an amazing record. In Rainbows rather is an amazing album. And yeah, the Smashing Pumpkins stuff I was listening to. So yeah, I wrote them off early on. And the other one that I want to quickly touch on was just going back to gaming, was the Battlefield series of games, because I wrote them off for the longest time.
I still have.
I had a bad time with Call of Duty, like when I started playing online and like I got my ass handed to me regularly, and I kind of didn't know much about Battlefield, so I thought, oh, it's another military shooter. I'm not going to bother with it. And I remember when I was doing YouTube, when I was doing the Gadget Addicts, and I got a code for Titanfall 2 from EA because
it's good, that game.
Clearly, no fucko. I hear it was decent, but clearly no one was asking for codes for it because of the time it was released. And I remember like the week after I got the code from it from EA, and I was doing my YouTube review for it. The media rep reached out and said, "We've got loads of code spare for Battlefield 1. Do you want to give it a try?" I was like, "Never played it, but sure, it's a free £40 game."
It's
I'll
not
give
the
it a try.
first one, though, is it? Battlefield 1.
No, it's like the 13th one.
I've only
overall or
played
something
Bad
like that.
One just counts for World War One.
Oh, right. Fair enough.
But yeah, so it was the first Battlefield game I ever played. Popped it on, blew me away.
Is it good?
Really, really good.
Campaign's good.
Shit. That's all I'd play
Never
anyway,
played the
mate.
campaign. I never played the campaign. I just played the multiplayer.
Oh, wow.
What attracted me to it was that, unlike Call of Duty, where you needed to be a crack shot and be like amped up on Monster Energy drink constantly to have a standing chance at not being bottom of the queue, you could earn points in matches without shooting your gun. Like I would always play medic or engineer class.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like fixing tanks, or I was healing people, and I was earning for the team. Like for the people who were really good shots and who could like score the kills and like capture control points on maps, it worked really well. Like the maps are huge. Like you're playing like 60 versus 60. Like it's absolute bloody chaos.
Oh, they're massive. They're really good.
Yeah,
and
I know the series has kind of shit the bed with Battlefield 5 because no one likes it anymore.
Yeah.
But Battlefield 1 was great. I went back and played Battlefield 4.
So does Battlefield 1 have like old like rifles and stuff? M1 Garand and stuff like that?
Yeah. No, older than that. It's World War I.
Oh shit, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So like your tanks are those little single seater 2-track things, and your planes are biplanes, and you can get it. You can stand on top of Zeppelins.
One-shot rifles. You shoot. You've got to reload it.
I absolutely love Battlefield 1. It is my most
good.
played game on PS5. Play it so much with my friends.
Really?
I don't play it. Yeah. I've absolutely got well drawn into it.
I own it actually. Believe it or not,
Battlefield game that I ever bought, and I used to play it like every weekend with some mates. I loved it.
I might play the campaign on that.
The Zeppelin
campaign is really good. Yeah.
I remember watching the Zeppelin. It loses its kind of impact of it after a while.
For a couple of times of seeing it, yeah.
But watching it come down, I literally, the first time I ever saw it come down, I just stopped fighting. Just sat there watching the Zeppelin come down and crashing over the map. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and when you destroy one, it's not like any other, like, it's not like a thing where just it disappears from the map. It changes whatever map you're fighting in.
Wow.
So you have Zeppelin wreckage to get around and stuff like that.
Fucking Hindenburg.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It was such a good game.
Cool. So is that everything from everybody?
Yep.
I think we're going to go to the bulging mail sack.
Yes, and the mail sack is, well, it's pretty bulging this week.
It always is.
Well, Terrestrial Extras come in with an album. It says, The album's called "In the Aeroplane Over the Sea" by the band Neutral Milk Hotel, which I can't say I've ever heard of.
No.
He said, my brother lent it to me saying, I think you'll like this. The cover is weird. The name is weird. My brother is weird. The music is weird. But I absolutely love it. Still play it regularly, and it often earworms me. So I know nothing about this, but I'm going to put a clip in from the title track.
And one day we will die, and our ashes will fly from the aeroplane over the sea. But for now we are young. Let us lay in the sun and count every beautiful thing we can see. Love to be in the arms of all I'm keeping here with me.
That was horrendous. I'm guessing.
Oh, it'd be nice. Be nice.
I've not really heard it. I'm just kidding.
Do a soundtrack now. Say that was amazing.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
New boy in the Discord, that F King show. Oh, that fucking show, I'm assuming.
Is that what the F stands for? Oh my god.
Maybe. It might be Fight.
I thought it was
That Fight King
Flip.
show.
Fracking?
Fracking.
A film called The Guest was on my watch pile for ages. Never heard of it. Bought it from Poundland from a giant pile of copies of the film. Cover was kind of bland, trailer generic, never a good sign, but I'm up for some trash occasionally. One of my favourite films of the last decade.
Guest. Okay.
Let's
Good
watch
things
that.
about The Guest. I haven't
I've got
watched
IMDb
it.
right here. The Guest.
What does IMDb say?
It's shit. I'm joking. I haven't loaded it up yet. Dan Stevens, Sheila Kelly, Micah Monroe. People I've never heard of. Dan Stevens, I know him. He's from the what was he in now? That comic book.
What's the star rating? That's what we're interested in.
6.7 out of 10.
So it's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. The usual ratings are better than the critic ratings. So yeah.
All right, fair enough. Well, none of us have seen it, so we'll take your word for it. Tree Smurf has come in saying, amazingly, I judged Ocarina of Time before I played it.
What?
I'd not heard of the Legend of Zelda series before seeing it in N64 magazine, and I must have been a 9-year-old hipster because I'd seen it 98 rating and thought, it can't be that good.
9-year-old hipster.
I hope he had a
With a
beard
little
and
beard.
the skinny jeans.
Yeah,
already.
that's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm vegan now. I'm vegan.
Yes. I want the vegan turkey dinosaurs. Sort it out, mother.
Eat some breadcrumbs then.
Yeah. It wasn't until a few years later I gave it a try, and sure enough, I realised how brilliant it was. Same thing happened years later with Wind Waker, where I immediately judged it based
So
on how
good.
it looked. And now I'm wiser and realise it looks fantastic.
Oh, I adore Wind
I mean,
Waker.
I've never played Wind Waker because I didn't have Nintendos growing up.
Mm.
But like, I always adored the art style of it. I thought that
gorgeous.
suited Zelda more than anything.
Yeah.
Like, especially, I thought it suited Zelda more than the Ocarina of Time style.
Yeah, I do, absolutely. I think I Wind Waker's like one of my top 3D Zeldas. I'm a 2D Zelda guy, but yeah, Wind Waker's incredible.
It's because you're a hipster.
Yeah, that's right. A 9-year-old one.
Yeah. John Cheatham has come in saying, for me, it was the From games. I was put off by the idea that they were these super hardcore games for big gamer men, or capital letters, and all that nonsense.
No, they're for nerds.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as everything else, dark fantasy and a monster-filled Victorian cityscape, hammy voice acting, it seemed right up my alley. But I just couldn't resist the setting and stealth and the grappling hook I saw in the upcoming Sekiro in February 2019. I thought I'd at least see some of the game if I gave it a go. I bought it and fell in love and spent 2019 playing that, Bloodborne, and Dark Souls, or thinking about them. There's nothing quite like these games, and I'm glad I give them a go. We've already been on about Dark Souls today, but yeah, I think that's pretty much, for everyone who those games work for, it's like that. I don't think anyone's kind of approached Dark Souls as a completely new player excited about it.
No, it's trepidation, isn't it? It's like, oh, I've heard things. But Sekiro is a really good jumping on point because, as I said earlier, it's a bit simpler. It's more traditional game. Do you know what I mean? Like this stealth, you can one-hit kill things and stuff. Yeah, try Sekiro, man.
Andy Woods has said Gladiator. I went with my mates to see it, but I really didn't want to. It's one of my favourite films of all time. I wonder how he judged Gladiator, because I remember it being universally...
That trailer
everyone
was
being
incredible.
excited by it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
love
Andy,
Gladiator.
let us know what you actually judged it as.
I only thought it was about the game show.
Yeah, where's Ulrika Johnson?
That's Wolf.
Angry Kurt has come in saying, "Hi, gents. For me, it's the Devil May Cry reboot by Ninja Theory. I really
worst
didn't
one.
think it would be. I really didn't think it would be the type of game that I would like, having not really enjoyed games like Bayonetta or the previous Devil May Cry games. But when I heard people say it was quite accessible and it won Game of the Year on Chet and John's reassuringly finite gaming podcast, rest in peace, I decided to rent it and ended up loving it. It's the only game of that genre I've enjoyed primarily due to its accessibility. In the reverse, by other suggestions, Hollow Knight. I adore Metroidvania games and have played all the best ones. I can see Stig raging out the corner of my eye here. I'm not even looking at
I've read his next paragraph as well. I'm about to walk off.
So
Carry on.
When Hollow Knight was being talked about as the best ever Metroidvania, I had to give it a go. I just didn't enjoy it.
Oh my
I've tried
God.
and tried. Put 5 hours into it according to my Switch, and I couldn't even get out of the first area.
Stig forced me to play that again, so I hope he forces you to play it again. It's not just one of the best Metroidvanias, it's one of the best games. It's that simple. And Stig's aghast now.
I
He
just
can't
don't
even
get the
talk.
next paragraph. I haven't played Hollow Knight.
Because I've read the next thing.
the next bit. Just, oh my God. I want to punch him, actually.
Well, speaking of punching, film-wise, I really
Exactly.
didn't get why Rocky got so much praise. Unlikable characters and
What?
poorly choreographed end fight scene. But the biggest culprit is the
man.
film you were never really here. I do not get why people love that film at all.
Because
I
it's
just
a
thought it was
stunning piece of cinema,
It's
Kurt.
incredible.
That is why.
It's incredible.
I just thought it was so boring throughout. The premise sounds cool,
Oh,
so I was expecting something like The Excellent Man on Fire.
What?
Instead, I fell asleep and had to start the film again. Yawn.
So just on
Ooh, he's getting
Kurt, your
sassy.
email
off
is
the
on
back of
fire because
that,
I'm burning
off the back
it.
of that, there is a Best Boy job going available. So if anyone wants to apply,
Is right. I'm off. Bye.
he's gone. He's walked off.
You've ruined me. You've ruined me, Kurt.
I think it's a personal attack.
How can you not like Rocky is all right? Okay, you got Raging Bull, but Rocky pretty much set up boxing movies,
Sports
pretty
movies,
much
mate.
today.
I mean, I will say I've never seen Rocky, but I have no desire to watch Rocky because I don't.
It's
give
an
a shit about
Oscar-winning
boxing.
film.
He wrote it. He
Yeah,
wrote it.
exactly.
It's
They're
incredible.
not all good. Don't get me wrong.
No,
No.
I totally agree.
But, wow.
Anyway, everyone's entitled
Yeah,
to an
you
opinion.
you may have lost your title, pal. Really, but brave of you.
Oh.
Brave of you.
It's up for review.
Yeah, it's
I tell you
definitely
that.
up for review.
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
Yes.
Anyway.
It's almost like a Rocky move.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, to round this out, Deadbeatpunk has sent in another essay. He's going for his dissertation with us.
Excellent. He might get a first.
Hi, Mustang Inseminators.
That's my favourite.
Yeah, he's been on the beer.
Yeah, that's my favourite.
I may have used that one before. Last minute email. Don't care.
He's such a big
I
shot
have this
now,
of-
isn't he?
He is. He's got his own
Yeah,
podcast.
big shot.
Incidentally, you should all go listen to it's called What the Fuck Do You Want?
Yeah.
Something like that. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, just we've retweeted it a few times. Look on our Twitter.
Just look
and
on the
you'll find
Irish podcast charts. There's only like 5 podcasts that exist, so yeah, shots fired.
it. Ooh. Anyway, I have the severe misfortune of being born the day after New Year's Day. As an adult, this results in everyone being too broke or too hungover from the holidays to celebrate my revolution of the sun. At least this is the excuse I've adopted for my socially extinct celebrations. Now, annoying as a big bad punk.
He's doing it again.
That-
He does this
tongue
on
twisters.
purpose, I swear, man.
Yeah. Now, annoying as a big bad punk, as a little tiddly prick punk. That didn't make sense.
Wow.
This was fucking dreadful. Right, okay. Now, annoying as it is to a big bad punk, to a little tiddly prick punk, this was fucking dreadful.
God, that-
there we go. I got it right.
Wow.
I Englished him. New Year's sales were always a typhoon that hit the local toy shop, and we didn't have any chains to fulfill my material desires. In the year that I received my fabled yellow brick Game Boy, we visited the local toy shop that was barely still standing after the sales. I could pick out a Game Boy game. I could pick out of the 3 Game Boy games on the shelf. I did. Donkey Kong. To which the shop owner explained that they only had the box and not the game. Game & Watch Gallery could fuck off into a fire,
Yep.
and that left only one option. A boring bastard-looking game, a logo on a brown background, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening.
Wow.
Normally on the way home, I would scan the manuals and be brainwashed by the adverts inside. Now, this time, was huffing up a fucking storm. I got home and decided I may as well try my new game. I was asked to name my character, so little cunt started his adventure.
You know that one of his first words he ever said.
Absolutely. In what ended up being one of my favourite experiences of all time. I need not wax lyrical about this game again. It is fucking art.
It is.
On a monochrome screen.
It is.
A teleportation device to a mysterious little land born of adventure and mystery. Anyway, tell Candy she did a brilliant job last week. Can't wait to hear scorched sheep material and give all my money to Biggie. Please look at the boring bastard artwork attached. And he sent us the picture for Link's Awakening.
It is just like a gold box, isn't it? With like a shield.
It's not the most inspiring of cover
No,
arts
it's
of the
not,
game.
is it?
To be honest, when I think about it wasn't really until like Breath of the Wild that any of the cover arts really kind of sold the Zelda experience.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? It's like when I remember getting Link to the Past, and it's still to this day I don't know why he's got purple hair in it. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But yeah. I don't know why I brought that up. It just still confuses me.
That's the only Zelda game I've played.
They're all. I like 2D Zeldas. Give me them any day of the week.
I just really like Breath of the Wild. It's fucking brilliant.
Oh, of course it is.
But that's the mailbag. The chaotic mess of fan mail that we've had this week.
Yeah, you've really upset Stig, but now he's got to do the socials and the look fast forward what we're going to be doing next time as well. So stay tuned. If you're up for it, Stig, socials, please.
Yeah, of course, I'm a professional. You can find us on Twitter at Modern Escapism. On there, you'll find a link to all of our episodes, socials, and Discord, and now Patreon. If you have any comments, you can either tweet us or email us at modernescapismpod@gmail.com. If you like to watch gaming streams, you can watch us at twitch.tv/modernescapism. Oodles is going to carry on his Titanfall stream, but it'll be on Friday this
tomorrow.
week because tomorrow, because he's going out on the piss again. So look forward to another hungover Oodles hosting.
If I turn back up home.
Episode.
I've actually bought as well some £2 Primark pumps. So if I lose any shoes, I'll be fine. I've just got pumps on.
I was going to say, are you going to lose your new Sambas?
No, I'm not going to wear them.
No.
I've just got some £2 pumps. You know, them really shit school pumps you used to wear when you were younger. But because I'm going to working men's club, it doesn't matter what I look like.
Just padding around a working men's club in plimsolls.
Yeah, basically. I'll get kicked off as soon as I walk in. Boys, I'm home. Boom.
You should just buy a burner phone and just put that in your house.
I don't take my phone out with me. I never have.
I was going to say, get an app and be like, find my phone.
I'm not trusted. I'm not trusted to take my phone with me, mate.
Are you trusted to breathe?
So Biggie is carrying on his Dark Souls streams on Mondays and Wednesdays. Gadget, I've had a couple of weeks off streaming, but we'll be back. And hope, depending on whether we finished Hivebusters or not, we'll be on Gears 5 Hivebusters. I heard it's only like 3 to 4 hours, so it depends how quick we are at smashing through the enemies.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yes, it will be. And as we discussed at the start of the show, you can now find all of our details about our Patreon at patreon.com/modernescapism. On there, you'll find the 3 tiers to look at. And if you want, you can find our first episode of Scorched Sheep that launches on the 4th of June.
So tomorrow, as you're listening to this.
Yes.
We've really not grasped time. And I don't think we ever will.
No.
But the Patreon money might get us to learn.
It's because we record before things come out and after we've streamed, and it doesn't make any sense to us.
No.
We should start being like those American offices that got like world clock times.
Oh, yeah,
we
could do that.
Set them for dates.
Like we're on Wall Street.
Yeah.
Well, you have it with calendars. You have today's calendar, then next week's calendar, and then the Oodles calendar, which is more like a Salvador Dali clock, and it's just melted over a wall.
we don't have clocks in my house.
So next week, we are going to tackle the best debuts. So we want to know from you who you think was the best debut director, debut author, debut album, whatever someone did that was their best thing they did as a debut, and hit us up with those.
Yeah.
Best debut
feedback.
Podcast, Modern Escapism.
Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee's debut movie, one of my favourites. Really good.
Of course it is.
Really good.
It's not.
He steers a boat with his willy. It's incredible.
if that's the content that's not worth 5-star reviews, I don't know what is.
Neither do
So
I.
hit us up with your 5-star reviews on wherever you, especially on Apple Podcasts, but wherever you listen to us on.
Thank you very much, sir, and thank you, gentlemen, for not judging books by their covers. That's all I've got to say, really. Don't judge us by this episode. Judge us by the whole, what would you call it?
Catalogue.
Thank you, canon, yes. Judge us by all of it.
This
And
episode is great. It's just that socials kind of got away from us.
don't worry, mate. I don't.
From
Ladies and
us?
gentlemen, and variations thereupon, I will be hungover next week, and the best way to get rid of a hangover is to drink more. So I probably will be drunk as well. So the regular sound will be back next episode. Trust me. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Good night. Brap, 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 brap. For the ones and twos. That was amazing.